You know what's funny is I'm actually going to do it, and I'm pretty sure we're live, ladies
Are
and
you
gentlemen.
sure? You sure you can back out now?
We'll see. December 19th, 2024, Canoga Park, California, 2LaneLIVE headquarters. This episode is brought to you by Law Tigers. Get in an accident, find yourself in a pinch, give them a shout first. They're the number one call. Today we have Brian and Jona Bowen Smith in the house. I'm out of breath. We're going to talk choppers and music and good times and bikes. So what's happening, boys?
What's up?
What's the origin of Bowen Smith?
Well, funny story. When you get married, you can choose whatever name you want. And my wife was Shay Bowen.
Okay.
And she wasn't going to, she was still doing modeling and acting and stuff like that. So she didn't want to change her name. She'd have to change all her headshots. She had to change, so she's going to go Bowen -Smith. So legally she could still go with Shay Smith.
Right.
So I had a shitty middle name. My middle name was Fish.
That's shitty.
Brian
Really?
Fish Smith.
Brian Fish Smith, yeah.
That's kind
Brian
of cool.
Fish
So,
Smith.
yeah,
it's got a
it was
little
for a
ring to
while,
it.
but then I was like, Brian Bowen Smith. And the girl goes, oh, okay. And I go, oh, I was just kind of testing it out. She goes, well, it sounds good. I
Yeah.
like it. I was like, oh, well, as long as you like it, and then she wrote it down, and that was it.
That's the story.
Yeah.
All right, we're done.
And then
Let's
it's
go.
like, Brian Smith sounded so, I mean, you don't get more generic than that.
Right.
So that's like my high school math teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Except I'm terrible at math and spelling and paying attention.
So what?
And then when he was born, I thought it'd be cool if we had the same middle name.
Right.
Because it's just really rad.
So you
Yeah.
gave him Fish.
So he's Jona Fish Smith.
And what was up with Fish?
My mother, crazy hippie idiot.
Like Jesus?
I think
Fish?
she did it so I'd get beat up. I don't know.
Well, try Galen.
Galen's actually a cool name. I know
Right.
2 Galens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave that to my son as his middle name because it's like it was 2 grandfathers, one Gale, one Lynn.
Oh, well,
So now the legacy can.
yeah, you got a story.
Yeah.
I mean,
Brian Fish, she was like, I don't care, just whatever.
Yeah.
She was probably like, something's fishy. That's not. I don't know who the dad is, which ended up to be true.
where were you born?
Syracuse, New York.
Anything to do with fish over there?
Your dad.
Huh?
Your dad.
Yeah, well, but that's a story for a whole different podcast. But I found out that my real father was a fisherman.
No way.
Maybe that's it.
And she knew, she kept it from me my whole life, which kind of sucks. But
Yeah.
And then we found out through 23andMe that I had a different father. And then the day I went to call him, he died. Yeah.
We need to maybe dive into that next week.
It's a whole other one. I'm still diving into it. But I got, I still got my old family and I got a whole new family. And
Yeah.
we were never very family orientated. We were like, my mom was basically 3 divorces. She became a lesbian, just was in a band, was a race car driver.
What?
She became a monk. She
Really?
was just, it doesn't get any more hippie. It doesn't get any more hippie than that.
I never heard that one.
You weren't supposed to, son.
Well, you know now.
Yeah. Better
So-
late than never.
Right.
So we've been at you a little bit to come on the show, and one, we want to thank both of you because when we finally got to you, you're like, well, let's do the Jona show,
Yeah.
and it's like, what better?
Way
father,
more excited
son? Let's
than
go
me.
have
Yeah.
let's go have some fun with it. So thank you both for
course.
coming into the
My
studio.
pleasure.
Of course.
I don't think Jonah slept in the last 2 days.
No,
Dad, what time are we leaving? What time do we want to get the bikes out?
It's all about family, man.
It is. It is.
You know?
It is. And that's kind of like, the new family I have. And I would think that everyone would agree when you bond with your kid, and especially over whatever. I'm sure my wife isn't the biggest fan of motorcycles.
She's not.
But she's a huge fan of how it's brought us together. And, and people ask her, like, why do you let your son and your husband both drive motorcycles? And she's like, I don't let them do anything.
Yeah, the word "let."
She's
is
like,
not,
she's like, it's the happiest they are. And to me, that's more important than anything. And I don't look at it as a negative thing. Like,
right.
she knows anything can happen,
And I think she's watching. I just want to thank her.
She's
because
actually
she
on a
would-
plane right now.
She-
She's
Hey,
in
Mom.
Alabama. So I don't know. She was going to try to log in. So
But she was so helpful too. Like we were
Oh,
texting, and she was
yeah.
like, and I could tell, okay, she's the organizer in
She
the
is
family.
she runs
organizes
the
most
show
stuff.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, he
She
said, he
even
goes,
requested for us in the calendar and got a reminder.
he said,
I
Brian's
love
going
it.
to be on the show with Jonah. And I'm like,
Yeah, we did.
what
Lance,
are
I
you
was like,
talking about?
he's like, and then Lance goes, "What day?" And I go, "I don't know." I thought you'd know. He goes, "I don't know." Then I saw Galen the thing. He goes, "No, I've been talking with his wife. We're good." Lance like, "All right,
Because
cool."
I was good. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, we've asked him for the last year, maybe a couple times, and I get it. No, people don't have to be on the show, you know. It's
Yeah.
like
I just
he's
had
not into it.
I had to
No,
take a
I've
different.
always wanted to. It's just with my schedule, and then just when you guys are open, it's always
Yeah.
you know, even all the chopper shows I go to, I book the hotel, I buy the ticket, and then it just depends. The day before, I can book a job, and I have to be gone.
Yeah.
And then I've always got someone that I can give the ticket to, and then give the hotel room to.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so the way I look at it is like I'm going to buy the room and get the ticket, because if I book the job, that means that I can afford to lose it.
Right.
So I don't wait to the last minute on that. My wife, however, will wait to the last minute to buy a plane ticket every single time, because if I book something, if I book I'm going on to Hawaii, I'm going to go to the Chopper Magazine party, I'm going to do this. If I do that and
Yeah.
book and commit, a job will come.
right.
I mean,
No, it's
I'm not kidding.
actually
It's
so
almost
weird.
like a curse. So she says, don't book anything. And she won't even book my plane ticket for vacation till the day before.
Right.
So
Wow.
if that happens and you get a job and you already booked something, do you like go, I'm gone, or you're like,
No,
forget that, I
work-
gotta go
can
for
give
the-
it.
Work always comes
Yeah.
first. There's no question. I've left 4 family vacations
It made me very sad.
vacation. Yeah, it sucks.
Well,
But
but I mean,
it's the only way we can go
you
on
think
vacation.
about it
It's the
too,
only way we
right?
do it.
That's
Like my
your-
life, I don't have a structured job. My work comes when it comes.
not a
and you
9 to
go.
5.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's
So
not.
if it comes up, you got to go.
If it comes up, you got to go.
So we'll get into the story about Jonah a little bit, but Jonah, tell us a little bit about who you are. And you're 19 years old and you've got a couple
19.
bikes that
Yeah.
are pretty rad.
Well, I'm very into music and all that. I'm a very like I don't know, like I'm very into like
He's an awesome
hardcore.
drummer.
Yeah.
That's what we hear.
I'm really into like I'm not dude, I have so many like there's so many things that I just really I think are awesome, like in while I'm doing the music.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm a huge fan of the Bad Brains, even know who
yeah.
they are.
Yeah.
His taste in music is
Yeah.
eclectic.
No, it's,
And
it's,
it
it's
has
super,
it had nothing to do with me, and like
that's not true.
Well,
Oh,
I didn't
that's not true.
ever steer you towards music.
Sublime.
Well, you kind of found that on your own.
No, you played it every
Oh,
time when I was in
every
the car.
day.
I do play it a lot.
Aha.
Yeah.
Speaking
yeah.
of things that we're into, I did take a picture of the bikes out front.
Oh,
So
Oh yeah.
tell me what we're looking at. Sounds like a 1960 Panhead, and what year's the shovel?
81.
And
Yeah.
there's a story behind that.
Yep.
We'll get that in a
Yeah,
second.
There's a story
But
behind
Yeah,
that.
let's stay on the music for 1 second.
All
We
right.
were at the old place today.
Mhm.
And we saw a person that he's a fan and brought his stepfather in. Not
Johnny.
stepfather.
Yep.
Was that the cook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Johnny?
But he gave us a little tidbit that you
Yeah.
wrote a song for your dad.
I did.
Oh,
yes, I did.
So there is some influence there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a guitar, we can all cry. It's great.
I wish we did have
No,
a
like yeah.
Yeah, he
Do we need a
surprised me.
acapella?
He surprised me for Father's Day.
Yeah.
And actually,
Recent this
it was last Father's Day.
Yeah.
last Father's
Yeah.
Day.
Uh-huh.
And we had a little barbecue, and he's like, "I got a present for you." And he came out, and it's like, we're like, and I thought he was gonna. He usually sings a Sublime song, and we chime in. But yeah, he wrote it and sang it, and it's good, and it's about us, just ripping on the road, and
Ripping on
You know.
Harleys, yeah.
What's the title of it?
You know,
Or is
I
there
don't
no title?
my
really have one
dad's
yet.
awesome.
No,
My-
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have a
It's that good. It's untitled.
I like it.
I guess I think it'll be called the story. I don't know.
Like story. That's it. See what I mean?
The
Right.
story of
All
dad.
right.
Yeah.
So when did you start riding motorcycles?
I'm actually kind of like, I grew up in the ghetto, and we used to ride those. Remember, you used to make like mini bikes out of the little lawnmower engines.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Little
Briggs and
pull little
Stratton,
string.
baby.
I used to have
Couple
one
of
of those.
my friends, they were like super white trash. We lived in a predominantly black neighborhood, and we were like the dirt
Where?
white kids in
In
Syracuse.
Syracuse.
So outside of Syracuse University, outside the university, like any D1 university, it's in the middle of a ghetto. And it's because the universities went back in the day all bought that land
Right.
because it was cheap.
Yep.
And they built these big, gigantic, classy universities. But think about it, Temple, everywhere. So Syracuse is no different.
Right.
There's a place called Brick City, and then we lived in the valley, and it was it's this rough, poor neighborhood. So it was like you wanted something, you build it or you stole it,
Right.
or you build it and then someone else
Stole it from you.
Yeah, and usually when they steal it, they drive by you and there's nothing you can do about it.
You
You're just
see
like,
ya.
damn, that's my bike.
I had a
But,
couple of those mini bikes.
Yeah,
I had
but
one
those-
with a
so-
2.5
so-
horse
yeah,
and then a
so-
5 horse.
Yeah, so
A 5-horse.
we used to ride those around, and then I remember my sister dated this one dude, and he had this little Yamaha like 85 Enduro, and it wasn't registered or anything like that, but he wrote, and I remember just being obsessed with it, and then he let me ride it once, and then he gave it to me, so I would ride it to school.
Yeah.
Now I'd ride that thing in the winter too.
Right.
This just was so stoked on that thing.
You're a biker.
Yeah, it was like if you could go, I'd be riding it.
Right.
So
Then you started riding young.
I started riding young, yeah,
Yeah.
and then then I remember I got an Elite scooter
Right.
when I was in college. I would zip around on an Elite scooter.
Like the two.
Yeah, dude, it looked like the Tesla truck. Hey, right now, just to be on two wheels,
Yeah.
it was just easy, and
Yep.
it's the only thing I could afford. Then I moved after college. I moved to New York City, and there was no way of getting a bike in New York City. And then when I moved to LA, when I first moved to LA, my friend Bobby Plemo, who's this like really, really big model. He was on his way to becoming an actor. No, big actor, like he was James Dean. Sad story. We became really good friends, and we both kind of moved to LA together. And he bought this. He had shitloads of money. He was a Calvin Klein model. Like he was hitting big. He came to LA because he was a meeting with like David Geffen and all them to discuss movie contracts. Like this is going to be the next big thing, but he couldn't stand the pressure. He bought Iggy Pop's Cafe Racer, all chromed out. He had a bunch of enduro bikes. He had a big place in the brewery district downtown LA, big warehouse. And we were supposed to go to Hawaii together, and then I booked a commercial, so I couldn't go. 2 days later, I get a phone call from my friend and said he had took off all his clothes, folded them on the bed, and jumped off the top of a building.
Oh, no, man.
Yeah, just like out of nowhere. So that was my first bike, and that was a kind of a dark way to describe, but every time you get a bike, and if you're a real biker, there's meaning behind the bike. It's like a member of the family, and people, the people that ride understand it, and the people that don't make fun of you for naming your bike.
Yep.
Or like, saying goodnight to it in the garage,
Pulling it in the house.
but when you ride, you understand that that's like, they become extensions of your hands and extensions of your family. And that bike meant a lot to me. And at the time I lived in Venice, and I had it in my living room, and of course it marks its territory. And leaks. My landlord came in and was like, that's gotta go. But we're not having that. So I kept it in my friend's garage, and it almost got stolen twice. And I had to get rid of it, which was a sad thing. But that, and then years and years and years and years and years went by, and I didn't have a bike. And then my one of my main assistants, Brandon Smith, he rode, and I met him through friends in the skating industry. And then I was like, oh, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna ride my bike. And I was like, oh shit, you had this dying. I'm like, I gotta get a bike.
Right.
What am I doing? I gotta get a bike. And then so then I bought a Sportster, and I chopped it all up. Well, actually,
That was sketchy.
even before that, I bought this, like I bought it. This is a crazy story. because I got all amped up and like, I want a chopper. And I thought I knew what a chopper was.
Is that the
I
one
was
that
so
had-
dumb and screwed. It was the
Yeah.
all like the one that with no paint and everything. And
Oh,
I got a frame first, and then I got this. And there was this guy. I don't even remember his name because I never want to remember his name. But he's like, dude, I have a friend that builds choppers. He's gonna hook you up. And we went to this big party, and he was like, had this shop and all these parts, and I was so impressed. And he's like, yeah, dude, what do you want to build, and what's your price? And I was just like, I'm like, I don't know. What does it cost? And he knew I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. So he's like, yeah, well, we build it from scratch. And I was like, cool. I can design it. I want it to look like this and that. And of course it was like an Evo engine. He's like, yeah, we'll give you a sick Evo. And I was like, Evo, that sounds so cool. Like
Jesse
I should
James
have
did that
never-
to me too.
Oh, so
No,
this
I'm
Jesse
kidding.
James will come into this story. And this is just hearsay,
Really?
but I think it's true. So anyway, this guy's like taking forever. About a year goes by, and I'm just like, dude, what's going on? Like every time I come, it's like he's got it up on the stand. Yeah, there's a little shop in Venice. He's got it on the stand. It's like there's a different tank, and this. I'm like, is that the bike I was building? And I'm like, then I'm like, something's fishy. Like last time that wasn't on there, that tank. I don't even know if that's the same frame.
Right.
So then I started taking pictures when I went. Then one day I went and it was just locked. And I've been texting him. He ghosted me.
Shit.
I went down a couple days later, still locked. And I'm like, yo, this dude's gone. So he left town,
Yeah.
right? And I'm freaking out because I gave this guy 10 grand,
Oh,
right? Plus I bought the engine, another 5 grand, which we all know now. You could have got a whole bike for 5 grand
Right.
if it's an Evo.
yeah.
I just didn't know. You just took advantage of it. Now, I and what I come to find out from someone is that like, oh, he was in debt and he was just using me to get money. And I didn't know anybody, and I trusted him, and I didn't want to insult him and be like, dude, I gave you all this money. Like you should have
Right.
this bike. Should be almost done, and you keep asking me. I'm not giving you any more money.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then I went, and the cops were there. This last time I went. And I was like, what, dude, what's going on? They're like, I don't know, this guy, something's going on bad, this and that. And I was talking to the cop, and I was like, he's got my bike in there. And like, he took like 10 grand of my money. He's like, get in line, brother.
Oh, geez.
And then, but then the guy was like, the landlord was like, hey, you know what's yours? And it was still on
No way.
it was still on the
rack.
the lift. And I was like, that's it. And then I was like, and I think that's my tank. And then, so he goes, just get everything that's yours, grab it and take off. So I took it through it on my truck and had these guys rebuild it. I go downtown and you got to go to get registered. And they're like, oh, you got to go to the sheriff's down in downtown LA. So I'm like, no problem. I go down there. I'm all stoked. Cop's like, whose bike is this? And I was like, mine. He goes, all right. He goes, where's the receipts?
Oh.
And I go, oh, funny. The guy took off. I don't have anything. He goes, you don't have anything. He goes, you got a bike. The VIN number doesn't show up in any of our systems. A special construction, you have to have receipts for screws. Everything that you put on this bike, you need a receipt for, or you can't register in the state of California. He goes, dude, this bike ain't getting registered ever.
Wow.
And I looked at him and I was in shock, and just a tear literally just dropped down my face. My wife was already so mad at me for wanting to ride a motorcycle. She told me it was going to be the worst thing you're going to do.
Like, no, I got
Don't
this.
freaking do it. Then when the guy stole the money, she was like, I told you that. And I got so, this bike is going to be mine. And I'm more determined about this bike than anything I've ever been in my life.
Right.
Like, this is going to be, and I thought it looked cool. Granted, it was, now I know what cool is, but it looked the part. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I was in love with it. It had my heart. I went through hell and back, and then this happens. So then I'm like, no way, dude.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
she's watching.
Oh, hey, mama.
Hey,
You're
Mom.
telling the story about how you almost divorced me the first time.
My boys.
We got
Anyway,
Sophia and
so then
Shay.
the cop actually is just like,
He
Let me-
sees the tear.
he sees the tear, and he's like, he's like got some compassion for me. And I just said, and I told him, I said, I spent all my money on this bike. The guy ended up robbing me. I had to pay. By the way, I had to pay. Now I had to pay these other guys to rebuild it. Everything was wrong. We had to start over.
Oh,
So I'm into this Sportster for like 25 grand. I'm like, I don't even tell people.
Well, you
So
just
now,
did.
and now I know, and I find out I'm never even gonna ride it. So the cop was
Ride
so
it
awesome,
dirty.
and I just was like, I was sitting on the curb outside, and he goes, dude, let me, here's my card. Let me do some digging. That's all I'm gonna promise you. I'm gonna do some digging. I mean, just my luck. I get a call a week later, and I didn't even tell the wife yet.
Right.
You know, I'm thinking of how am I going to tell her now I can only ride it out of the driveway and back or up my own street. He calls me. He's like, all right, I got good news. He goes, the good news is you got me. You know, the second good news is your bike, the engine, the VIN number didn't show up. But long story, I was talking to my buddy in Colorado, telling him the story about how you were crying. And he goes, wait, is the dude shop in Venice? His buddy sold the engine to my guy.
No way.
Yeah, and the cop knew him. So
That's
all of a
fake,
sudden I go
brother.
in, he signs some papers. He's like, you're good to go.
No
Oh,
way.
wow.
Yeah. No, it's either nothing.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
Fate.
It's
Fake.
fake.
No,
Jeez.
The chopper gods were like, he's riding this bike
Well,
next week.
they were probably like, he's going to get in a shitload of trouble. So
Yeah,
let's help
yeah,
his
yeah,
ass
yeah.
out.
His
at
wife's
home.
hot. We can't let this happen. So then that was my first chopper, and I rode that thing into the ground, and I actually ended up selling it to my friend in New York.
For
And
$50,000.
You know, yeah. That's what I told him. I sold to him. He's like, dude, you got this cheap ass, you know, Japanese front end on it. Da, da, da. What do you do? I'm like, you bought it. I go, by the way, you bought this thing for what I paid for gas. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like, and he's
Right.
like, I'm like, it's funny. We have an ongoing joke. Like, every time he calls me, he's complaining about it. I'm like, it's been 2 years, bro. Shut up. Take
So
that
you're-
back.
All choppers. No
Hmm.
other motorcycles.
No, I had a Dyna.
Okay.
You know, I had a Dyna
Nice.
that I used to get back and forth to work. That's what I taught Jona on.
Yeah.
I taught him on a big old
Huge,
Dyna.
Huge bike.
So
And he's
when
about-
did,
I didn't even know if he would be able to.
what age?
You were 16.
16.
So you've been riding for 3 years,
About.
and you
yeah,
started on a Dyna.
Dude.
Well,
And I'm like, and if he can hold it right, if he can hold it up, you know, and then no, he's a quick study, and Jonah's he's not like me. Like, I would have just ripped it through a wall and just.
I can't
You know, he's going maybe like just enough to keep it on the
Right.
without falling over. He's super cautious, even when he drives. He took driver's ed, but he's awesome. He just has to go a little faster. He goes very slow, but he's just meticulous and aware. You know, which is, by the way, I'm not complaining one bit, because when you're on a motorcycle,
You have to be aware.
that's you know, you follow rules. You know what I mean? You're thinking ahead, and you're not trying to do wheelies and hot dog it. And so one of the reasons why I felt comfortable kind of pushing him into it, and you know, he's gonna do it. We all know if you're gonna ride a motorcycle and you decide
Well,
once he turns 18, I can't really tell him no.
So what, the bug bit you?
it bit me, and it bit me good.
Yeah.
It bit me good. Yeah.
It's hard to explain to people,
I
isn't
think
it?
it gets us all, right?
Yeah, it does.
But it's like if I ever
And thank God there's no vaccine for it.
but
If you ever what?
if I ever so there's this one time that we were at the rock store.
Oh yeah, we got in a fight with these bunch of these guys. Oh
No. No, and there was this guy who was on this, I can't remember what he was on, but he was on an older, I think it was like a,
probably mushrooms if it was at
No.
the rock store.
but he was on a panhead, and it was like old school,
Yeah.
you know. And I was like, it really is like if you come across like an animal that is very like
Like an extinct animal.
yeah, like a extinct animal. And
So Jonah darted the dude, took his bike.
no,
There's a dart in my neck.
but it's
I know what
just
movie that's from.
it's really awesome knowing that there's other dudes on these old
Yeah.
Yeah.
on
Old
these
dudes on
Harleys.
old bikes
Yeah.
is the best.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, and then you graduated him to the Evo, or how did that?
So the the first bike we got him was, good brakes.
Yep.
Wanted to start up. We wanted to run.
You wanted to
We don't
stop.
want him to break down.
You should
He's
have
got
got
to
him
go
on the
for help when
dyno.
I break down. So someone's got to have a good running bike.
Right.
Yeah, very rare you start out on a panhead, and I'm like, let's see how long this lasts.
Right.
I didn't know if he was going to be into it. I just thought this dude's going to high school in a chopper. Like,
Right.
I said, just don't sleep with any teachers, because that's usually what happens when dudes ride choppers go to high school. And so, I said, we'll buy him an Evo. Shay and I got it together, and it's like 4 over. It's pretty bad.
Well, I've done.
And then he got to, of course, when you buy a chopper, what's the best thing?
Right.
The hump.
Yeah.
Changing it up, making it yours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we got him a basic one, and you changed the tank, of course, had a sissy bar built, and then made it his. And he named it the Hawk after Taylor Hawkins.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right before Taylor passed, he sent Jona. I don't know if you heard, but he's got a bit of a stutter. And so Taylor also got bullied a lot. And so he said drumming was his armor.
Mm.
And so Jona was having a tough time with his stutter. And then Taylor had sent a video to him and gave him a snare.
Snare.
Rototoms.
Rototoms that he used, that he signed it on the back, and did this long speech
I still have them too.
about hang in there, and don't let little things like that discourage you. There's so much more to life than your stutter or me getting bullied. And he goes, but take it out on your drums. And it was the coolest thing ever. And so, unfortunately, when he passed, it's unfortunate. It hit him kind of hard, but he had my friend Matt make the tattoo of Taylor, and he welded it on the back of the bike.
No
the
way.
Hawk.
Yeah.
Really?
So I'm like, there you go. Like, now you have a bike that has meaning, good meaning, you know what I mean? And then you have something that, solidified it as the Hawk.
And you still have the Hawk?
Yeah.
Yep, we do.
That's not the one in the.
No.
That's the
Hawk
next story.
Yeah,
That's
that's the next story.
The next story.
I mean, that was what, a year ago, his birthday?
No, that was his 18th. Yeah. A year ago. 19th. Oh shit. Keep forgetting he's gonna be 20.
You're
I'm
getting
like,
old, dude.
Oh, so your birthday's when?
February.
Yeah.
23rd.
And so he's had the bike a year or 2 years now?
The Hawk is 2 years.
No, the
red one.
The red one is a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had it for a year.
I mean,
Big Red.
That video
All red.
that you guys put together with all the dudes.
It went
Gilby
viral,
and
dude.
Rooster and all these.
Yeah.
It went viral.
Yeah.
It did go viral.
Like,
It was weird.
But you tell
what?
a little bit about you brought the boys in, and
So
you guys all kind of chipped
well,
in
no,
and
what
did some
happened
work.
was we were on a run to Pappy and Harriet's, and then our friend Adam Bernard, we're sitting there smoking a cigar, and he had been, talking about getting a shovel head.
Mhm.
I'm like, your next bike should be a cone shovel. The shovel head that's got an electric start, it's still got good brakes. It's a nice level to get into.
Right.
Don't get into a knucklehead or a panhead or something that, it's going to be too hard for you. It's going to discourage him. And I knew it would ruin his experience. Is how cool he is. He's also like, I told him to ride my shovel head, which is,
Older.
it looks like it's glued together.
Right.
And he was scared to death on that thing.
Yeah.
I could see when he came down the road, he goes, dude, this thing, it doesn't stop. And I was like, I know.
You got to drag your
You
feet.
got to be, you
Look at my
know that,
boots.
so you start stopping a block before.
Yeah.
This that. But and then he was
pray.
into the idea of like a shovel head that's still it's a beautiful bike, and shovel heads and cone shovels.
Yeah.
I would
Really
argue
good
that
engine.
they're very popular right now. They're coming back.
Yeah.
Because they're such great bikes.
We
And,
have to relearn that stuff because we're used to going like 90
Oh,
to
I
a
know,
stop
you
sign
guys-
and stop right there.
Yeah.
If you got to stop.
Wait,
block
you go
the way.
that fast?
Like I'm
Yeah.
still
Are
getting
you
the
serious?
massages at like Jenny Spa. You guys are at the Four Seasons.
Yeah.
I'm like, so anyway, we're on the highway. Typical Adam. We just said like he's just not on time all the time.
Right.
We're on Pear Blossom Highway. And he's like, and I'm looking at my bike like something's on fire. Like, what's wrong? I'm almost gonna pull over. He's like, at the gas station. I'm like, okay, cool. And he kept pulling up, and he's like smiling, like, and I'm like, what is this dude's problem? I go, what's going on? And I'm like, now I'm like curious. So about 45 minutes later, we go to the gas. He goes, dude, I've got the bike. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, I just won. This guy wins
This dude
every
wins
round.
every bike.
He's
man.
got a
way.
system. He's got a
He
system.
has like 10
But
bikes.
you know, to his point, he's lost as many as he's won. So
Right.
kind of evens out. But still, we're lucky if any of us win one
Right.
bike. But he's made a, you know, he's masterminded, and you know, it's like, how do people win at poker? And you know, when you're smart and you can figure out
Right.
how to even count cards, however it is, how these guys do that. It's phenomenal.
Right.
So anyway, he's like, I just won one, and I'm like, I don't even have room in my garage. He goes, take it. I think I can't take it. He goes, no, dude, I'm giving it to Jona. Like, it's my contribution. And I was like, I don't know, like, dude, you know that I'm straight.
Right.
Like, I'm like, what's the cat? Like, I don't even know. You're a real happy dude. And like, I get it. And like, I'll think about it even. Like, what's the catch? And there was no catch. And then I told Shay, and of course, Shay, my wife, thinks every time something like this happens, she's like, I'm sure that you didn't buy it.
Right.
Oh, yeah, someone gave you a motorcycle to give our son. She's like, Brian, is that the truth? And I'm like, babe, call him. She's like, oh, yeah, I'll call him, your motorcycle buddy. He'll tell me the truth. You know, I'm like, babe, I swear. You know, like, you do the books.
Right.
Did you see $8,000 come out of the account? No.
She's great.
So then I'm like, so now all the guys are like, yeah, and then, you know, someone's like, oh, we should build it into a cool chopper, because it was just the engine but it was not anything we were going to give him, and it wasn't safe and this and that. So our crew is very well versed on mechanics, and they know all their shit. So we started doing wrench nights, and I'd bring the bike in, and you know, and I bought these split tanks that he wanted. He had a bike based off the Hell's Angel 69 movie. What was his name? Tony the Tramp. Terry the Tramp.
Terry.
And he's always in love with that bike.
Hold on. So he was on this.
Don't ever interrupt me, son. I was on a roll.
He was on this like red bike, and I was just like, that is such a red bike.
But
because it's like, what's the front end I have on mine?
it's a white glide.
Yeah. So he also had that, but it was just perfect, you know. And
Yeah, it was
So the bike spoke to you.
Yeah, he
Well,
would
yeah,
watch
yeah.
that movie over and
Yeah,
over and over and over,
Yeah.
and then we knew.
just to watch the bike.
Yeah, but he
Just
knew-
to watch the bike.
He let it known exactly how he wanted this bike to look.
Right.
So I asked the guys, I go, how can we make this look close to that bike? And they got it pretty close. You know, so Gilby Clark did a lot of the welding and chopped it up, did all the wiring. I bought the tanks, and this guy Paul Gould came up with the color. Paul Gould came up with the color,
Mhm.
and did the fender and the tank special color. Stephen Moda, the mechanic, went through the whole bike and basically, you know, made it completely like top end and
Right.
checked the start. It did everything mechanic. Caleb made a custom air cover that had a skull with crossbones, and the crossbones were drumsticks.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a touch.
Christopher Pearson, a friend of ours, made custom pegs out of brass. You know, so there was a lot of custom.
The family chipped in.
Family chipped in a big way.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably forgetting some people. Everyone contributed something that's in the crew.
Right.
Even like, you know, Brandon came over and helped Gilby, you know, when I couldn't be there. And so it was a family affair for sure. And our plan was, if we can get it done in time on his 18th birthday, and he just started working at the old place. And I thought, he's been dying. Like usually when there's a guy's birthday in the crew, we all do a birthday ride.
Right.
Or we try to,
Right.
or even if it's on a weekend close to his birthday. And all Jona wanted to do was go on a birthday ride. So Shay and I were planning this big reveal.
Right.
And we got Rooster involved, because he's our camp counselor. So he organizes everything. And I talked to the old place, and I'm like, we wanted the whole front parking lot to be empty. And all the guys were going to show up at 11. Then I was going to pretend my bike didn't start. So we'd be a half hour late. So they would get the bike there, and then they covered it up with their jackets.
I don't know how I didn't freaking see it. It was like,
Well, because it was covered up with
Yeah.
their jackets.
But
We were
like,
expecting
it was-
it. And then I told them we were going to be like 11 people.
Yeah.
But when we went, there were like probably 100 people showed
I
up.
was gonna say, the
I don't know
pictures
how
look
it
like
got.
there were-
I don't know how the word got around. Then people just were like, kept pulling up, going, "What's going on? What's going?" And then we were like, they wanted to
massive.
see this go down. So
I
when
don't
we
think
pull
we were
up,
there. I don't think were
No.
you there, Josh?
we didn't like. No,
I
we didn't
wasn't
like you
there.
I
guys
wasn't
then.
there.
Yeah,
I wasn't
Yeah.
there.
You
Yeah,
didn't
I
like
was-
us.
we were still like, "Oh, those guys." And so we didn't tell many people. To your point, you know what I mean. I couldn't Instagram it.
Right, right.
It was kind of like just gonna be
Word of mouth.
the guys who worked on the bike, me
Yeah.
and Jonah.
Well, how did Jonah get there?
He was
He was
riding
on
his
his-
bike. He didn't
On
know
my-
he didn't
yeah,
have his bike yet.
on
so
my
we're yelling at his
Evo.
Evo.
Yeah.
Oh,
So what I did is I had
Yeah.
my friend Mike
Yeah.
rode in the car with Shay, so he could ride Jonah's Evo, and then Jonah could ride Big
Gotcha.
Red. So Old Red is it? What's the name of the bike?
Old Red.
Old Red.
Old Red.
So we get there, and I could see Jonah's face. I was shocked because I'm like, look, what are all these people? And I was
Yeah.
like, no way. And then Shay's like, you park over here, and there were two spots so we could pull up and be right in the mix.
Yeah.
And then Jonah gets out, and he's like, thank you. And so I get him up, and I bring him in the front, and I have him. The bike is directly behind us.
him.
So my buddies now, when I'm like, Jonah, thank all these people for coming, and like isn't that so? He's doing this speech about, well, I'm kind of, and he's giving this, and he's already like almost choked up. He's so happy, and he's like, now we're gonna have a real run with all these guys, and then I turn around. There's a ribbon on the bike, and I just turn him around, and there's the bike, and he's just like, and
You
I've
didn't
been
think it was
riding-
yours at first, right?
he
I
knew.
did.
When
It's
he
like,
saw a ribbon, he was like, he knew.
here's the bike. Now go over there.
And that was the most like genuine response to that. You see him turn around.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I was
the
like-
whole thing.
lose
I
it.
looked. I've
Yeah.
never seen so many grown men crying. It was.
I mean, there was old dudes who were like, "Ah!" like
yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's
It
awesome.
was a pretty great moment. And then, Russell,
Exile Cycles?
Russell did the internal throttle and did the wiring for all that. And Russell also, Christopher Pearson, he's a big DP, and he made a little video of it. And Russell reposted it, and I reposted it.
it went viral.
Russell was up to 2.5 million views.
No
it was
way.
crazy.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
and mine I think got up to almost 1 million. And it was just nuts to see and to get so much response about
And hate.
just
And hate.
There's
you get
always
trolled.
gonna be
hate.
I told you
That comes.
Damn,
with-
maybe he's like,
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't focus on that. And
Yeah.
and it was just such what I'm like, and I'm thinking like, God, what did we do? This kid, like, he's so. How do you stay grounded after all this?
Yeah.
And like, and just.
With the people he hangs out with, he'll stay
Well,
grounded.
I think
He
you are the
seems
company
like
you
he's-
keep, and
yeah.
and he's got it. He really, he deserved it and appreciated it. And everyone that watches that video, there's no question, like,
Yeah.
why did you do this? And they're like, oh, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's like if I had $1 for every text I got that said Father of the Year, or you're an idiot, you're gonna get yourself killed, and it's like, it was just awesome.
and then after that, it started like, it started to get like recognized.
Oh yeah, that was the
Yeah.
coolest thing. Is
it was super
Yeah, now you
rad.
Yeah,
can't
we
write it
pull in
around
and,
anywhere.
You're like, hey,
I remember
you're the people in the video.
we went to the rock store.
That's the bike.
And we kind of came in hot, or Jonah came in hot, and there was like some
Epic Star.
MC crew or whatever that we park, and I see 5 of them kind of walking over, and I'm thinking to myself, oh Jesus,
Oh God.
did we come in like too hot, and like these guys, I'm ready to just apologize and be like, what's up? And they're like, yo, we saw you on Instagram, bro. Was that the bike? And then Jonah's like, he was so happy. He's like, yeah, let me give me a tour of the bike. He's like, and then
Well,
I just-
it's kind of funny what Instagram and YouTube and all these things, like
Yeah.
for us, when we started this, we were on Instagram, but we started YouTube, and it was right during COVID.
yeah,
Didn't expect that, but I think probably helped us because worldwide reach. And
Yeah.
we have people that come in. There was a guy from Germany here at the event. We have people all over the
yeah.
world that come
That was a
in
cool
weekly.
event, by the way.
You like that?
Glad
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys came.
Yeah.
It
And I
was
tell you,
cool to have the bikes.
I don't know
lined
that
up,
dog
too.
that was, slaying up that chili,
Yeah.
but he could blow the chili cook-off. Off
Oh,
the
he's
water.
watching
He's
right
watching
now.
you.
Yo,
That's,
bro.
so
So
I'm
counts.
telling you,
Watch
next
your-
year you need to go win that chili cook-off.
He does compete in chili.
He
cook-off.
has
No,
one.
he hasn't gone to the chili cook-off in Malibu, but he's won a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But I asked him, you go to the Malibu
Oh.
yet? Because that was, I mean, my wife's is better,
Yeah.
but
You have to say that.
he's a close second.
My wife's
For
is better
sure.
too.
Ralph.
But
And
I
Ralph
do like
says,
yours,
hey,
Ralph.
thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Damn. He was in here today, actually.
Oh, was he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, I'd be friends with that dude in a second. Like, you know, we got a football game this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're doing, but
He's a
Get
good
that
man.
chili
I'll make
going.
cornbread.
Yeah.
But it was fun to have you guys roll in here and
Oh, it's a
you know,
pleasure.
and you're parked next to the Cobra and you're
Oh, it was
like,
cool.
It had a
Well, I
good
sent
scene.
you the invite and you said, I'm going to be in Australia. And
Yeah,
then I see you pulling in. I'm like, whoa.
That's because you got to send it to Shay.
Ah.
I see. I got dyslexia and a ADD, and like I think everything's happening. I was coming here yesterday.
I sent it to Rooster.
Shay's like it's tomorrow. I was like, dang, seriously?
I sent it to Rooster because I know he had it handled.
I'll tell you, he's our camp counselor. If Rooster knows, we all know.
Right.
So do you ever ride the Evo anymore?
You
I
rode it
did
the other
yesterday,
day.
yeah. I did like.
Is that the Hawk?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Hawk.
Wasn't my paintbrush supposed to get wet on that thing?
It was.
Oh shoot.
We should probably still do that.
It's up to you.
I keep
That was-
forgetting about. See, ADD again.
See,
I totally
or-
forgot about that. I need to do mine too. Both of mine need it.
Well,
What are
Lance
you
says
doing?
I saw that. I didn't know he
he
painted.
wanted me to paint Hawk
Yeah,
on his
he
gas
wanted-
tank.
yeah, the Hawk.
10
Sounds
years
like
ago
that could be
before
an
I knew him.
episode.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll make an episode of it so we can do it and then ride. You
There
gotta
you
try
go.
that paint somehow.
Yeah.
Well, we were gonna do it. We were gonna do a chopper run. We wanted to do. I
I know what happened to that. Did Adam
that
flip it?
Adam.
I know he's not watching because
PSA at
yeah,
But
Adam Bernard.
Yeah.
You guys blow up
We-
his Instagram. Be like, dude, what's up? When are we doing this?
We wanted to go. I don't know if our audience would dig it if all of a sudden they see us not on road guide.
On
driven across
I think
the
they would
country,
dig
you
it.
know?
Chopper
They
with the
dig it
stuff,
because you guys are. You could do a podcast on the way on the side of the road.
bingo.
That would be so rad.
Just bring a desk. Well, we made it 20 miles, so we're going to do another podcast.
well, he doesn't really know us, and we
I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna make that happen.
maybe we need to make it worth his while. Like you're independently wealthy, maybe
Oh,
you need
right.
to cut him a check.
Well, all I know is he came to our
a
opening,
bottle of whiskey
He
and a
did come-
cigar. That's all it
and
takes.
he was like,
That's it.
"We're
Come
doing
on.
it."
Look,
What do you want, Adam? We got cigars, we got whiskey.
I don't know, Adam. I don't know.
This would be a
we need to
great-
make that. I'd love to see you guys on some choppers. You ever rode a
That would
Suicide
be so
Clutch?
rad.
No.
It's like driving a standard car.
Yeah.
You know, it's not hard to get used to, but your brain, it's just your brain. You know, it's like,
Right.
yeah,
We have a chopper here.
yeah, but is it a proper chopper?
It's an Ironhead 75, so it's swapped.
Yeah,
Iron
so
Head.
that's on
Weird.
the other side. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Which
It's got-
also can be. I mean, 3 blocks, your brain gets it.
Yeah.
I still grab a clutch once in a
Yeah.
while.
You're like,
Got
I
a
can't
long
stop.
break,
My
though.
shovel head.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Too long.
Long
I wouldn't
bike?
want to ride it.
If it ain't
We'll
if it
show
ain't
you.
long, it's wrong.
All right, we got people following Adam Bernard already. So
Oh,
guys,
Yeah,
no.
that's right. Hit him up.
He says followed.
There's El
Oh,
Dash
no.
in the house.
Let's
Lauren's in the
harass.
house.
Let's harass him.
That's
Just-
awesome.
So real quick, how is my daughter connected?
Dude, we worked together before, and then she came to my house. I was doing a shoot. She was involved somehow, and then she's like, "My dad," and I was like, "Wait, I know. I saw you on Instagram. I didn't know you." But then she was like, "Yeah, tell me about it." And then when she put us together, and I think I gave her a book.
I saw you.
You saw me at Katsuya
Yes.
with
With
exactly Blue Todd.
Blue Todd.
Yeah.
Yes. And I knew Blue Todd, but I didn't know. I recognized him,
Yeah,
and then met you there.
Yeah, exactly.
With your wife.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
With Shay.
Shout out.
Remember, we were sitting in the
Shout
far
out.
corner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're in tequila business too, right?
Yes, sir. Casa del Sol Tequila. Yeah.
I don't see any.
Right.
No, that's fucked up, boys. That's your fault.
Now is Blue Todd in that as well?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I'm doing that with we have a partner, Eva Longoria, my friend Steph and Colby, our president.
Okay.
And a couple other people. I'm just one of the partners. I'm kind of the creative director of that's how I got in. I mean, I'm super lucky.
So let's back up a little bit. You and your buddy came out, God rest his soul, to LA. So were you photography in New York as well, or were you
I was actually acting.
You were acting.
Yeah, actually, and I did a lot of commercials.
Okay.
I did probably 6 or 7 national commercials a year. So, and back then that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was able to just do nothing. I mean, you work on a commercial 2 days.
And
You know what I
you're
mean?
getting
And then I had the rest of the year off.
right.
And I never had money, so I was like,
This is great.
yeah.
So you're doing the acting. What got you behind the camera?
There was a guy named Herb Ritts who was a very famous photographer, and he booked me for a Gap commercial. I was a national champion gymnast, so I was pretty agile on my feet, and I could stand and do backflips and all that. And he hired me to do that kind of thing for the Gap. And while I was shooting, and it was like me, because I was a pro athlete, and they were doing musicians and then actors, and and I met him at a party with a friend, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna use you in a commercial," and I was like, "Great." And so he was laying out his book, Africa, and then in the middle, he's like, "You want to see the book?" And I'm doing a book, and we're back there, and he's looking through like the rough copy of a book, like and I'm just like, what
Wow.
is this? I'm like, he's so, I mean, the guy's a legend. He's the king of black and white. All the famous Janet Jackson videos, the supermodel picture where all they're hugging. Like everyone knows his pictures. Some of them don't know it's him.
Right.
So then he asked if he could do a shoot with me personally, and I'm like, absolutely, whatever you want, dude, and then I was driving home, and I just, I had booked, I was on Friends, was in a couple movies, and my acting career was like on the up and up. And I just booked, literally Margaret Cho was doing her own show, and I went in, crushed it. And they're like, you're our guy. I was going to play her love interest on a sitcom. It's going to be a huge life-changing experience for me. And they were like, can you stay here and read for Margaret and the producers? And I was like, sure. So they call my agent, my manager calls me, and he's like, dude, you killed it. Congratulations. This is amazing. Like, this is, I knew it, here we go. So when she got there, they bring out a bunch of sides, and they're like, here, we're going to do this scene. And I was thinking to myself, oh, no, like, we're not going to do the same one. That's the only one I memorized.
No.
I have ADD, dyslexia. Like, I can't read something and comprehend it. I need time. And then when I get time, I can do it. Once I read, once I memorize it, and then I can ad lib, I'm golden, and I'm really good at that. Like, it was my strong suit, I would even say. So I kind of panicked, and I asked them, like, can't we just do the other scene? They're like, no, Margaret wants you to do this one. We'll give you time. Take your time. Take whatever you need. Then I see these suit guys coming in, and they're looking at me in the lobby, and they're just kind of like, yeah, dude, he's cool. And everyone's in. Then you go in this room about this size, and it looks like this lights, and Margaret's in a chair, and then you got to just spit it out. I have such a deep respect for good actors, and my buddy Josh, and how he can do that. And people don't realize how much goes into the actual craft of acting. They see just some guy on stage killing it, a woman that's just like, you look hot, they think that that's just easy for them. And actors make it look easy. But I mean, it's crazy how much work and how much, memorization, like musicians.
Right.
Like, I'm like, I don't care how good my voice was, how many TVs I could throw off a balcony and live a cool rock star life. I could never be a rock star.
Right.
There's no way I could ever remember an album, let alone 20 night after night. And I just knew, and I quit in that thing. I did one line, and they were like, you could see the guy's face, like, what happened?
No.
You're a completely different guy. Like, do what you did before.
No
and
way.
I told him, I said, I can't do it. And then I got nervous, and then I knew, and I just wanted to get out of there, because I felt like I was crushed. It's like having a stutter or having a disability, and someone's like, oh, and they're making fun of you in front of the whole class, and you're just like, you felt like that.
Right.
And I hated that feeling. Felt it in my life a couple of times, and none of it ever went good.
Yeah.
And I walked out, and I quit. And my agent calls me and he's like, "What are you doing? Get your ass back in there. They're still there waiting. Like, you better
Sorry.
buck up and this and that." And I'm like, "No, dude, I'm done. I'm never going to ever be in that situation again. And I'm never going to put anyone in that situation again." I'm thinking like, you let all these other good actors go because you thought I was the guy. And then really quickly I got filtered out of the business, and I knew I couldn't handle it. And I'm not one to worry. I don't care if I spent my whole life getting to that point. When it got real, I knew I couldn't deliver. So I was out. And everyone was like, the only one that understood was my girlfriend at the time, Shay. I went home and I just told her, and she was like, and she knew when I make up my mind to do something, I'm doing it. And she's seen it firsthand already. And I'll prove everyone wrong. But I also know when I'm done. And I also know when I'm not going to do something. You know what I mean? And I'm very honest with myself. And I wasn't worried about starting over. 2 days later is when I met Herb and did that. And I came home and I told her, I said, "I think I'm going to be a photographer." And she, without a doubt, she's like, "You'd be good at it." And she bought me my first camera.
Wow.
Nice. What was the first camera?
It was a Mamiya RZ. She gave me her 35 that she had because she was modeling and all that. And she bought a camera she tinkered around with. And she had this little Nikon 35.
Okay.
And I got that. And so I went during Thanksgiving break with her. About a week later, we went home to Alabama, and I went to the Barnes and Noble.
Yep.
And I bought every book on photography.
Nice.
And all I did that whole week was read books. I've never read that many. I've never read any book.
Yep.
I literally think I've read one book all through college and high school.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but reading's so hard for me.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, thank goodness they have it on, the video, the audio. Yeah. Just because I'll read 6 pages over and over, and I'll be like, if I'm thinking about something else in my brain, I don't know what I just read.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because my wife goes, "Read 50 Shades of Grey. That's the only book I think you'll actually understand." and I started reading that on a plane, and I look over, and this girl's like, "It's good, right?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, it's
Well,
good."
thank you
So
for
then,
sharing that, because that's part of your life
I know.
story, and to share that on air, and then to become what you become by just looking at the layouts and
To make a long story short, I told her, "Look, after watching you, all I want to do is that's all I've been thinking about. And I haven't had that feeling in a long, long, long time. And I knew that I was going to do it. I just didn't know how. And so I asked him if I could come to some shoots. I said, "I don't want to get paid. I want to come be a fly on the wall." And he said yes. And he goes, "But listen, because you can come to a couple shoots, you're not going to learn how to be a photographer, but you can see what goes down, because you've got to, my assistants are my assistants. And these guys, that's their career. So you've got to get in with them if you want to stay here." So he said, basically, if you're going to butter up with someone, it's them. So I was getting water, cleaning up, but the craziest part is I showed up. He's like, it was like, I was there at like 5 a.m. and your call time was 6 at the beach. And I get there, and the lead assistant was like, we had just done a shoot where I was the talent twice.
Oh.
First I was in the commercial and I was like the celebrity. Then I'm in,
like, what the hell are you
doing?
doing?
David Jaco. And he's like literally blown away. And I thought Herb was going to tell everyone I'm there, and like no one told them. So I'm in there, this and that. And he's just like, he thought it was my house.
Right.
"Oh, is this your house?" I'm like, "Oh, hell no. Look at this, a mansion." And so he's like, "What are you doing here?" And I go, "Oh, didn't Herb tell you?" I'm like, "I'm just going to come and observe." "Observe what?" And it's like, "No, I'm here. Like, I want to learn, and I dabble in photography and this and that." He's like, I could see he was like, oh, confused, but he's like, he knows that I'm friends with Herb. So he was kind of playing it like, okay, well, what is your level of experience? And I said, nothing. I said, but I'm a really quick learner. But basically I can get water. I clean up, carry stuff, and that's what I did. And then I paid a guy I knew that worked in a grip room.
Yeah.
And I paid him $500 to teach me what each piece of equipment was, what it did, and what it was called. Because they'd be like, "Go get an Elinchrom," and I'd be like, "I don't. What's an Elinchrom?" And they'd ask, and I'm the guy on set now where everyone I pass, the wardrobe stylist, "You know what an Elinchrom is?" She's like, "No," and get away from me. "What are you doing?" And I'm just like, I got to find out what an Elinchrom is. Someone points that, and I'm running back, and I'm like a dog with a treat, like. this and other girl, and so I learned quick and went, and then I went, and like I said, just like when I could get a script and I could study and I knew it, then I'm good.
You had it down.
Right. So within 2 weeks, I pretty much knew what every piece of equipment, at least everything that Herb used
Right.
and David used. I knew what it was, and I could get it and I could set it up. So then and he saw that. David Jacob, I think, saw in me. He's not just some person that wants to come because he's Herb's friend and this and that. I mean, I even stayed one time. When you shoot on the beach, when you're done, you've got to clean that whole beach. I don't care what's there before. You could have cigarette butts everywhere and trash and that, but when you leave, that beach has to be. So my job was to, in the dark with a flashlight, clean up cigarette butt after cigarette butt, and I didn't leave till I'm like even like 10 feet out of our area. I made sure, you know what I mean, and then I brought the trash up, and and they saw that I was really eager, and then every person in the world told me that I was too old. Oh, you think because your wife's a model and all that. Everyone discouraged me, which gave me. I'm like, dude, you don't know.
That doesn't work.
You don't know what I've been through, and like, you won't make it.
Right.
You won't make it in anything you do because you're already making excuses for me. Where I'm like, I've decided I am doing this, and I gave up my life, and I gave up I went broke. I was like, my rent in Venice Beach, 2-bedroom house, $850 a month. That was it. That and dog food were all I had to pay. You know what I mean? And I was making $50,000 a commercial.
Right.
So I'm like, I thought I was.
Problem.
I was like richer than anyone. Do you know what I mean? And then when I got with my girl, it was like we were like, but we spent, and to her, whatever. Like I was astonished that she backed me.
How long have you been married?
About 25 years. 20.
Don't put him up.
No, like 27 years.
So Jona, you look at, you've got these incredible parents, and you look at this and you hear his stories, and I mean, it's got to give you some pride, and right.
There's like old stuff on like YouTube of him, like skating stuff, and I'm like, dude, that's my dad.
Yeah.
Like it's really awesome because I am exactly how he is. In a way, like, and I'm like, that's who I got everything. That's who I got my style off of.
So you play drums and guitar?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
What else?
And he sings.
I sing. That's probably about it.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Guitar and drums and sing.
I've been.
He learned the guitar during COVID. I was literally like concentrating on the drums. And then my wife, of course, went right away and bought him a guitar. And I'm like, true. Like if someone wants to, we'll spend our money if it's going to be something that he's going to get into in a craft, and I'm like, especially music, and like we're 100% supportive of. Like, I'm like, go on tour, suffer.
What do you play more?
Drums
or guitar?
I've been on the.
I would say 50-50.
Yeah, it's been kind of like either or.
Now you had a band.
What? He's in a band.
You have a band. Right?
666.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No.
But it's
No. It's not like actual like six.
It's not the devil.
S-I-K.
It's SIKSIKSICKS. Like 666.
So we'll have to take you on a chopper run down to the 666 highway in Arizona.
Yeah.
So you're playing
Devil's
the drums or
Highway.
guitar, and you get a chance to go ride. You drop the sticks and
drop the
jump
sticks
on the bike.
Yeah, I'm like like.
We call it that's our therapy.
Right.
We literally live in one of the best places on earth to go on a ride in the middle of the afternoon. You've guys been on Mulholland Highway. Our loop, just to clear our minds, out of our driveway, right past the old place, up Mulholland, down to Las Virgenes, and back up.
Malibu?
No, we don't even go to Malibu. We go left on Las Virgenes.
Oh, okay.
So it's a 25-minute little loop that, that little stretch of Mulholland to the right where they film MASH and all that is like when you're a kid, 19-year-old, you get off the bike, you go, did you see how beautiful that sunset was? And saying stuff that you never thought your kid would say to you is just, and it's every time. Like,
it's always different.
We never take it for granted. And literally when we come back, we're happy.
Right.
So we headed down to Leo Carrillo.
Right? Oh, yeah.
And Josh is like, we got to get this shot. And so we turned back around and came through, and we hadn't seen it yet. and we crested through, and all of a sudden, you
The
know how
ocean.
the ocean,
Yep.
but it
With
had
the
a
fog
little,
bank,
had a
yeah.
marine cap layer on it.
It's the best.
It was
Yeah.
just
And to go down
insane.
into
Oh,
it too.
God, it was
Yeah.
great.
It was
Yeah.
extra blue too.
Yeah, it was really
It was
cool.
nice down there.
Yeah, well, with that, whatever the sky reflects on reflects. That's why the ocean
Yeah.
is so blue when it's sunny and clear, because it's just all that blue goes and reflects off the ocean. So people think that the water's so blue, but
Right.
it's real reflection. So and
Yeah.
it's cool when the overcast and that see the different.
Yep.
We came
Different
around the
shades.
corner out of Virginia City, around Lake Tahoe. We came out of snow, rain,
Oh, yeah.
the whole stuff.
Oh,
And as we
we've done-
turned it right under the lake,
Mm-hmm.
the clouds kind of dispersed and the rain stopped. And
You can hear it go.
the clouds were on the water and they left, and there was this
Smoke on the
turquoise
water.
water and there was a rainbow
Oh, dude.
Flat rainbow.
on,
that's
the,
crazy.
on the water.
Flat.
Jesus
Sorry.
Christ.
Sorry.
Wow.
Flat rainbow.
Wow, we said rainbow. He got excited.
Oh, it was crazy.
For those of you
All right,
listening at
Galen.
home, Galen is playing karate with the mic.
Yeah. Chop, chop, chop.
So do
Yeah,
you know Josh Kurpius?
yeah, of course.
You ever
Oh,
shot
yeah.
with him?
I haven't shot with him, but he was very nice. He came up to me at the Harley-Davidson festival.
Which I was surprised. We're
Yeah.
standing there, and there you are. It's
Yeah.
like, what are you doing?
Oh yeah,
here?
dude, I couldn't wait to go. I brought Shay.
That's where we met
Yeah.
Shay, and our wives
Yeah,
met Shay.
But-
yeah.
But He big chopper
This
guy.
one?
You know that.
Oh, I know.
You know,
Yeah, and a good photographer.
he shot us up at up
Yeah.
in the mountains
Oh
above
yeah.
Malibu.
I'd let him shoot me any day.
Yes.
What? You're Jonah? You're a bouncer?
No. So it's kind of a inside. So basically, when we were doing the Pappy and Harriet's thing,
That was a good recovery.
yeah,
yes.
I kind of Rooster. He was like, okay, man, and any bike that's not stock, they need to be out. So I was like, okay, and I took it like hardcore.
Serious.
So
I
I was
am
like,
the bouncer.
you guys are in. You guys are out. You guys.
Yeah. Jonah was he was the bouncer.
So
Yeah.
talk just a little bit about the band.
The band. I've been.
What's the genre?
It's like
She's super hardcore. Their
Very- yeah, it's like very
hit
hard.
song when they started was
turn off the TV.
no the one about the Calabasas girls.
Oh, I hate
Homecoming
Yeah,
Whore.
Homecoming Horror. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like the lead singer's she's pretty hard. Yeah, she doesn't mess around. She says what's on her mind. And it's like it's kind of like ska punk rock.
Yeah.
It definitely gets you moving. He's also
Rebellious.
Yeah,
Rebellious.
he's also played
Rebellious.
with Gilbert Clark's daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Frankie and the
Frankie!
Stars.
Yeah.
He filled in on drums when their drummer
Wow.
wasn't able to be there, and
That was a very awesome night too.
I'll bet that
fun.
was really
I
cool.
yeah,
Really scared.
it's fun because when you see him play. Like, you ever see Animal from the Muppets?
Yeah,
He looks like that, like just wailing,
I love it.
just wailing.
Did you like the Irish Celtic rock band we
Dude,
had? They
you
were
know-
pretty
oh,
good.
dude, they were awesome.
really good.
Yeah. I love them.
They were very good because it was like
What was the name of them again?
Very good question.
the
They
The
were
Irishman.
really, really good. I know I couldn't really hear when they said their name, but man, they were cool.
yeah they like had like an Irish.
Violins, they were like
Yeah.
I dug
Dropkick
those.
Murphys.
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
I love that.
I was like,
we're
whoa.
Irish. I love that kind of music.
You know,
On
we
Inst-
went to
they're on
we
Inst-
went down to Pappy and Harriet's and ate one night. We did a little trip and we stayed in the cabin right
Mhm.
in town. That little
Yeah, the little hotel.
no,
Hut-
It's part of the hotel.
standalone.
The
cabin.
red cabin.
The red.
Oh
Church.
yeah.
Right to the
That
Red
was
Dog
Right by the
Saloon.
red,
Yeah.
the saloon.
Yep.
Yeah, that was cool.
Red Dog. Yeah. So a couple of my friends stay there when we do our thing. Someone knows someone that owns that place, and
I mean, it was
awesome, huh?
Yeah,
It's
I
like
mean,
you're back in
two
time.
little
Yeah.
bedrooms, and then a couch what he slept. But I mean, you had a little phonograph there, and you could
Oh,
play
yeah.
Willie Nelson and some.
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
the
we
best.
just coffee in the
Oh,
morning.
good. And
It
then you
was-
go down,
oh,
walk down Main Street.
Yeah,
and,
We did a little scene in
It's
Main
awesome.
Street. We had to buy a permit.
Oh,
What was
yeah.
it, $200 or something?
Oh yeah.
$100.
I'm surprised they let you.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
Well,
they're tough.
All over the set, it says you
Yeah.
have to go to the general store and get a permit.
Yeah,
So we did.
great.
Yeah,
We
Well,
filmed
you
it
guys are
first,
by the-
but
you guys are
we
by the
did
book.
not always.
We're by the book.
We're
Yeah.
running.
Yeah.
We're running from the law.
I see it. You got the sheriff's badge right over there.
Yes, sir.
Jeez.
All over here too.
Oh yeah.
Um, So what's the farthest you've ridden?
To
Did you go up to
Cabby
Virginia City?
and
Or-
Harrods.
Okay.
That's it.
That's a pretty good.
And getting out
Oh,
there
dude,
on
it
the
was
freeway.
so
that was
incredible.
his first
Yeah.
run. You know, he hadn't run on the highway much.
Mhm.
So 2 weeks before we went, I was taking him on the highway. You know, you have to learn. You know, here's the things you're doing. I want him to split traffic. I want him to
Which we
get
did
from
here.
splitting traffic
Yeah.
all the way to an exit.
I was
So
like, ooh.
so you know, we practiced.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I knew he was ready. And the crazy thing is, like, you know, the guys, it's like Josh always says, he's like, isn't it weird that, like, that's your kid,
I'm the.
but once
youngest
he's
one
with
there,
us,
yeah.
it's our bro.
Right.
Like that's our kid, or like our friend. And I'll look over and Jonah will be telling a story, and I'm like, God, he looks just like me telling a story, and everyone's laughing, and everyone, you know, they're all like,
I
taking
just.
it. But then everyone, you know, everyone watches out for him. They know he's a young kid, and like he's the youngest by far in the group. And they
But
know it's green, but they're like, they respect it. He keeps up. He does what he's told. They'll give him advice like, look, you took that turn. You should have waited one more car. Don't do that again. And he'll learn. And
but I know that they look after me, and I'll do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You know, because that's
yeah, like
what.
if shit goes down, Jonah's got their back.
No, man, but like, I just think they're very awesome. You know,
And
and
him and Christopher have this thing.
oh
where
my god.
anytime they see each other, Jonah runs and jumps up in the air.
No,
and
but
Christopher
I do
catches
like
it.
a whole like.
Christopher's like a
acrobatic.
gigantic, the best hugger in the world, but literally
It
will
was
crack
broke
your
my
back.
back.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
So it's so funny.
Well,
every
that's
time I see
why
him.
when I saw you at the opening, I told you how great it is to be riding with your dad.
Yeah.
I mean, because my son's whole life, he was doing dirt bikes, racing.
Right, that's how we
Yeah,
started.
that's-
Oh, that's
freestyle
right.
motocross,
Actually, the
right.
first bike he
Yeah,
rode, he was
Oh,
like
so
4.
Wasn't the Dyna?
No,
No.
it
It was a
wasn't.
little PW50
That's right.
or
Oh yeah,
something?
we used to go to Gorman all
Yeah,
the time.
so did we.
Yeah.
But we did Gorman, we did the racing circuit. He got into freestyle motocross.
Yeah.
Because of him, I traveled the world with him.
Yeah.
Then I got a Harley, and I said, "You
Who
should
did
get
you
a
get?
Harley." Lance Corey.
Was he next games?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, he got a gold medal and a bronze medal, and now he
That's-
has
yeah. Oh,
the
yeah.
business in the Harley industry. You know, he does aftermarket parts,
Of
thrash
course
and
he does.
supply, and it's like
You got 3 generations of that.
so. There's
And
Lance.
you're all named Lance.
Yeah, I'm Lance Richard. He's Lance Michael, and then there's Lance George.
No Lance Fish.
No Lance Fish.
No Lance Fish.
Not yet.
So, yeah, when he was racing, they always called us Lance Squared.
Yeah,
You know.
that's funny.
So it's fun though. You
That's-
can't compare that. Being able to ride together, you guys are.
I
Sitting
mean,
around
do you
the
remember
show.
those? I mean, you
I
probably
do.
remember every
I
moment.
Remember, I was terrified to like that hill.
Oh yeah,
That
the
hill. I was
little,
like, no,
the
I was
little
like,
kids track, but the
Yeah.
hill was
No,
pretty
no.
big.
no, but it was like a really big
Well,
hill.
you were
Like a
only
hill
this
climb.
big, so
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
can imagine.
and
And
I
I'm like, you cannot stop on the hill. You gotta gun it.
you see, I
Like you
tried.
can't. So
but-
and then he'd get around and he would turn off, get around, turn off. And then one time I blocked the turn off, and I'm like, well, I'm not coming here. Like, you're going up this hill today. And I saw him just like around, second time around. I saw him, and it's like the X Games. You could see him, going like this, and then he got around the corner and he pinned it. And I was thinking, oh no, he doesn't realize when he
He's
gets to
going.
the top, he's gonna catch air. So sure enough, I'm at the bottom and I see him go, whoop, and I'll get up there and I look, and I'm looking for him. Like, I thought for sure he ate shit, but then he made it, and then he's like, God, like, yeah, I won the X Games.
So because of all that, your guys' bond will be forever.
Oh
and,
yeah,
and it's like you're saying, and I was
yeah.
relating
Oh, I'll
to.
never forget. I was so pissed off. All he wanted was a KTM.
oh
Yeah.
my god.
All he wanted was a KTM, and they were like, freaking. They weren't cheap,
They are
And so
race
we were
bikes,
like,
you know.
Yeah.
and he wanted, and then I thought he's been doing this a little bit, like, let's step him up and do a little. Still 50, but
It was.
he
80.
he gets on that thing. No, it was not 80. It was.
It was.
Oh,
80.
Oh, your memory's better than mine. But anyway, it was tiny. I don't think it was an 80.
They had KTM 65.
Oh,
was a
yeah,
65.
yes.
It was not, because it was still the tiny one.
Yeah,
With a little.
bigger than the
Little
tiny
shoes.
one,
The,
but not
yeah.
that.
the muffler looked like,
Yeah.
hey, hello. I can hear you. Like the old
65s
man.
are still rockets. Though.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So he goes and he gets off and he's just shaking his head like, what's wrong? He goes, no, I don't like it.
It busts my
He goes,
nuts.
my balls are tingling. I'm like, you better get on that thing. And he wouldn't ride it.
Oh,
I had to sell it.
Uh,
And I
no way.
was like, God.
That happens.
But I'm like, well,
So
No
you're
way.
riding together.
yeah.
And like I've watched my son break bones and do
He
stuff
broke
like
his
Oh,
that.
so
Yeah.
No, but
That's-
then you're riding on the street, and I always have to tell myself he knows what he's doing. He's pro, but
Yeah.
as a father, I'm still always going. you know.
Yeah.
There's definitely been
Because
times
you don't
where
want
I
to be
messed
on the
up,
road and be like, well, he's got to make mistakes in his life and he'll learn from them. Like, you don't do that on a motorcycle.
especially on
You're
these
like, I tell him,
things.
like, you.
We watched our boy Josh over here roll down
Yeah.
190 and
Like,
going
he
into
does it
Death
for attention.
Valley.
He does it for
Well,
attention.
I
Yeah.
remember there's a couple stories to reflect on, but we were at the old place. We had Matt Swedlin from Harley with us.
When you were
And
there.
you rolled up, and then Josh rolled up, but you were talking about the bike, and you're like, he's getting on this chopper, and there's a time where you could definitely go down on
Yeah.
it with the
It's
chopper.
not if, it's when.
Right.
And how bad it is.
Right.
You know, I mean, yeah, you could also get herpes,
Of course.
you know,
It's not if, but
you
when.
get hit by you get my,
Yeah.
I have a friend that knows his friend was in Montauk and he was riding his bicycle and a dude hit a deer on the other side of the
dude,
road
No
and
way.
killed him. Like he got hit by a deer,
Flying
being
through
hit
the
by
air.
a car.
Jeez.
Like you don't know what.
In Montauk.
Yeah,
You
in
definitely
Montauk.
don't know.
Well, they got a big deer problem.
They do have
Where's
a
Montauk?
Exile.
because you can't hunt.
Exile.
Yeah, we were on a run to Virginia City, and a deer hit Russell right in front of us. The
But
mommy
he, like,
deer
hit
went
it.
in
He
front
was
of
like,
him, and the baby deer was big. Literally
I
jumped
think I
and
saw
hit
Yes.
us.
that.
Were you guys like,
You
Russell
had the
did not
Bambi.
move at
Yeah.
all.
The Bambi.
Yeah.
One. Yeah.
And it was,
geez.
I was like, what are the chances? He didn't even budge. I didn't even, I'm like, did you even know? He goes, oh, I saw it. I'm like, you didn't even like look back. You just were like, I was like, geez, cucumber.
So Jonah, you were
Why don't
talking
you put
about. I was going to say you were talking about how cool it was to see stuff online of your dad, look
Right.
up and see, okay, how we got to this place, how we got this. When you said that, I was just thinking for especially them. You know, we started the channel, they started the idea, and we capture all these trips.
Uh-huh.
But now Galen's children, Lance's grandchildren, and their children have the chance to, when they're your age, look back and see
Yeah.
the story of that one time we rode across the country, rode
Yeah.
this and there. So that's just
Yeah.
kind of a cool thing.
I mean, I've been to Sturgis 8 times with
Yeah,
my son.
I haven't been yet.
It's definitely a
You haven't been?
I haven't been
It's
yet.
fun.
Every time, like I said, my it's every time
Our
that
bikes.
they're all going, and then the EDR ride down in Mexico, I just booked jobs,
Mm.
so I couldn't go.
those are gnarly runs too.
Yeah, that's
You
why.
should, you should book a job in Sturgis.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a bad thing, but
I mean, call Harley and say,
Yeah.
let me get in there. And
Well, if it's August or July 31st and you don't have a job, just go.
yeah, no, I'm ready to go at any time, and it's
Just such a fantastic journey.
Yeah,
If you
I know.
can go, Jonah can
all
go.
of the
oh,
boys, all of the
Yeah.
boys have been several times.
well, it's
Gilby always plays there.
one of those things that you at least have to see once, because you won't,
It's
you
huge.
cannot just
No,
fathom the size of the
No, yeah.
It's
crowd
crazy.
there.
yeah,
It's
no,
crazy.
it's crazy. It's like the Louvre in Paris.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
I
same.
think my wife and I just went for the 6th time. We finally finished it,
Yeah,
and it's like, and you just can't.
right.
You know what I mean? Because you don't want to rush past things and miss them. It's crazy. The eye candy is just.
It's the journey there. Sturgis is great.
Oh,
but
yeah.
The journey there
Oh,
makes
yeah.
it
It's
even
the-
better.
Hey, look at they say life is the journey, right? It's
Right.
like
Right.
you.
It's a ride.
All of our rides that we do, small or big, it's all about that little journey and just that tiny piece, and then not knowing if you're going to be, life isn't promised. So every little thing that you do that gives you joy, which is what I instill in him, doing it responsibly, and making sure that you can. Like he just missed out on a ride we did for
I
Brolin.
was so bummed out.
And it was beautiful, and I knew, but he had to work. I'm like, bro, he had to work. That comes first, and don't get bitter about it. You know what I mean? Like that's the lessons you learn. You can't do this stuff if you don't take care of yourself and pay the bills first.
100%.
And
Good lesson.
Yeah, well, it's the only lesson, because there ain't like, oh yeah, you just won't be able to do it because you'll have to sell your bike. You can't afford gas.
Well, talk about
Can't
the
afford
lessons you learned on maintenance on the bike, and you and another guy ended up pulling over because your bike cut out, and then
Oh yeah, so all these
Steven?
bikes, well, Steven is my
Shout out Steven.
Steven Moda's the main mechanic that I learned from, and he's how I got my panhead. He built that panhead for 2 different people, and I saw it in his shop one time when he was working on it. And it's unique because it's the tins are like weird, like the gunmetal gray.
right.
And I've never seen them like that, and I don't like shiny things. I always just thought, if this guy ever sells this bike, it's sold. Like, I'm buying it. You know what I mean? And a year later, he goes, bro, that guy wants to sell the bike. And I'm like, holy crap. So I sold 2 bikes
to get
that panhead.
Yeah.
And I realized that Steven went through, someone had bought it, the first guy, and rattle canned it black, everything. So he had to take it apart and by hand scrub all of that off. But it gave it this great patina.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I knew the engine was solid. It's just a beast of a bike. I'm so in love with that bike.
A really rad bike.
And so when I got it, every breakdown that we have, everything, we're like sponges. I'm like, what is that? And he's like, well, 90% of the time, check the headlight first. It's the wiring or it's the gas. You know what I mean? Unless you hear the ticking and the engine blew up, or oil spewing out of a hole somewhere.
Right.
It's usually wiring. You forgot to turn the petcock on.
Yeah.
Or a short somewhere will ruin your day. So the first thing I do is you chase down the wiring and this and that. So after several, I finally started learning how to do it. And then we were on a run somewhere, and it was me. My friend Mike was on my shovel head. And then there was one other guy, and then they all kept going and didn't see us. So I'm like, they're gone, this and that. And I'm like, well, let me just start
time to do it.
Chasing it down.
Yeah.
And so I look in the headlight, everything looks good there. Headlight's not coming on, the tail light's not working. So I know it's power, which means that it's not going to run until you find out where that short is. Some wire is stripped and it's touching the frame and shorting it out. It was going back and forth and it wasn't touching the frame, but finally somewhere it's stuck where it's touching. So then I start from the front, go to the back, get thing. And then sure enough, I can't find it. Right. And then I look where it already had been repaired before, and I go like this, and I'm like, oh, that's loose. So I cut the tape off, and it's not, sure enough, it came apart.
Oh.
So I twisted them together, put some tape on, turned the lights on, it worked.
No wire in it.
Yeah.
Just
So even them,
little
by the
electrical
time they
tape.
kept coming back, I just started it, and I was like, yeah, I got it. And I remember I was like, yeah, because I'm not by far, I'm still learning so much. Like, I could never take the engine apart and do the things these guys will take an engine apart.
You probably could if you got into it.
Well, I'm slowly putting into the time, and I'm, learning, and it's going to take a while. But even doing little things like that, or just when you would call AAA, no,
another
see if you can
step
fix
in
it
the
first.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You can test things to figure out what it is. And these guys, that when we're on a run, it's like everyone breaks down. It doesn't matter how big or new the bike is, or this was just built. You got to shake the bike
No
out.
matter what.
No matter what. Something
There is.
we have times when it's not, but it's usually something really simple.
Right.
It's not like everyone's like, aren't you bummed out? I'm like, actually, it's part of the process. It's part of the learning experience, and it's part of
That's why
Well, at the same spot, I think Josh had to pull out the oil bottle.
Well,
fill it.
Steven's like that one. Steven, thank goodness when Steven's on a run with you, you literally immediately have a sense of, we're not going to sleep outside this afternoon.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's going to get somewhere we need to get to, or he'll cut to the chase. One guy's clutch went, he took the clutch apart. He said, you're done. You're going to have to call a tow. This isn't going anywhere. We don't have the parts. But at least that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then and Steven will send a link on eBay of the part you need while you're in the, in the tow truck going home. So Steven is like, Josh is like, it's jumping or something's happening. And so he goes, pull over. Jacked it up on a curb. I come over and like the whole bike looked like it was apart. And I'm just thinking, oh, we're going to be so late. Josh is just like, this is, it's incredible. And Steven's like, I need lube, I need this wire, and I need, this part. And I went and Googled the place and found like an Ace Hardware, went in, found the nut that we needed and some wire. I got some wire and then got this lube. And like half hour later, we were back on the road running, and it was running better than ever.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so it's
lube saves.
It's one of those
Lube
things.
saves. Don't
Yeah.
Life
don't
lessons.
discount lube.
Yeah.
We've been lucky. We've only had a few like a pipe.
But when
maybe
you guys break
crack
down,
or-
it's a whole different ballgame because
Yeah.
your bikes run on computers.
luckily
Yeah.
they don't have them broke
There's no
down.
wire that's shaking loose on your bike. It's,
No, and
and those guys, and the half of the good thing about your guys, you go twice the distance, but you don't break down.
Right.
And that's another, it's another, like, listen,
We
everyone's
did
like,
22 days straight.
Yeah,
And if we had
that's right.
breakdowns, it would have been 50
but like my
days.
panhead, when the thing is once you kind of find out all those kinks, those bikes don't break down. My most loyal bike is my 45. I have a 1938 flathead, and that thing is just money. It starts in almost 1 to 2 kick every time, no matter how long it sits,
Hmm.
and that thing just hums. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never had a problem. I had to rewire it just to get the tail light, and I put a tail light on it. I put a headlight on it because it didn't come with one.
right,
So, and it's a magneto.
right.
Once I got that dialed in,
You're
I mean, it's unbelievable. It's pre-war,
Right.
and I'm like this, but they're simple.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's not much to it. Keep oil in it.
Yep.
Watch the RPMs.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And just don't be stupid on it. And it's like those things. It runs forever. It's
What is your
incredible.
guys' cruising speed? Rough average? Like
Well,
I would say 65.
there-
Gilby and Rooster like to. They get in the zone on a long stretch, and they'll just, it doesn't matter. But I'm never over 70.
so what if it's 110 out? Does it affect that bike?
No, we've come home from that, that Chopper magazine run in Virginia City, and we hit, I swear it was freezing. Like we woke up and I'm like, it could snow.
Right.
And by the time we got down, past Big Bear, it was 102, 103. And we still go around the same.
Yeah.
It's just the air and fuel mixture you have to adjust when you're in the high altitude.
Right.
The bike starts running weird. And if you forget and you get back down and it's super hot, you think, oh, it's this, but you forgot, oh, I gotta at the gas
gotta
station, let's
readjust it,
dial that in again.
Because we've done a pretty good stint at like 118. That's gnarly.
That's gnarly. Like
just for your body.
your face.
Yes,
And we don't
horrible.
usually wear shields and everything. We like to smell the gas and because we're not going on rides as long as you. And it's like a hair dryer. It's like right in your
Right,
face.
totally.
And it gets annoying.
times 10.
For
Yeah.
me, it's the dry eyes.
Yeah.
When it
I'm
comes
like,
to that heat.
oh.
Lube.
But yeah, lube. I forgot to
Get
lube
some
up
lube.
my eyes. But it's that whole thing about when you're on that old machine.
Yeah.
When you're in those elements, you know what I mean? When you're all sleeping like on the floor in one room and everyone's crashing like you're back in high school. It's like it's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's kind of part of it. And I want that experience.
Right.
I want to be challenged on these rides as long as I enjoy them, but I also want to be challenged.
Right.
I love I love a little bit of pain in anything that I do because it makes it that much worth it.
Yeah.
I remember we kept coming home from one and it was pissing rain and it was freezing. And we're just like, keep going. And you were chilled to the bone. I was in my shower for a half hour straight. I was curled up,
Yeah.
just letting all the water hit me. And I'm just like, until it ran out.
Right.
Right.
And it was just the best feeling and miserable coming home. But it made it. And then I had a story.
Well,
Yeah.
and our pain's probably the length that we traveled, not so much because we get and we do it all year long. So, last year we started off in the snow.
Yeah.
Oh, we've been in 14
Yeah.
degree at night.
And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just it's gnarly,
Yeah.
but there is something, the Harley-Davidson has that soul to it. But when you hear an old bike roll up and the clatter of that bike,
Clutch
Yeah.
plates
It's a different-
slapping back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
It's like a mating call.
Yeah,
Let you
right.
guys roll
Yeah.
up.
like a big bull
You
elk.
could be having sex and hear that, and you're gonna go,
Whoa.
"Was that a shovel head?"
I gotta go. I gotta go.
That was a knucklehead.
We've on an hour and a half. Let's just talk about two other things. Is he in Chopper magazine? What's the magazine?
Oh yeah, Choppers Magazine did a whole like 4 pages on the crew and the bike and gifting the bike to Jona, and they got some great pictures of the day we gave it to him, and then a picture of him and my wife took a great photo of us in our neighborhood driving down the Chesbrough Meadows. And it's just what another amazing, piece of memorabilia I have as a father, and
Right.
we have as a father and son together, that we get to, you hear these stories. I heard these stories from my friends that had families, and how, they're like, oh, my grandpa, I used to sit on his lap and he used to tell me stories about this and that. And I used to be like, oh, really?
Because you didn't have
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never met my grandpa, but we would have done that,
Yeah.
but now I'm like, he's got those stories. He's going to tell his kids one day about, how cool I was.
Yeah.
Okay. But you know what I mean? And I want to sit. I want to sit with his kid on my lap, guy or girl, and tell them about how when we go and how we did those things together. And and it's like, so I tell people all the time. It's like having a rough childhood, having someone in your family has cancer, having any hardship in life, whether it turns out good or bad, can be overcome, and you can't predict it. You have to deal with it. Every problem that comes up, and everyone's gonna have it. I have friends that are billionaires that have more problems than all of us.
Money
I have
can't
friends
buy
that
it.
money can't buy. Money can make you, feel secure, right? Money, everything about money with all of us is that I want to be able to still raise my kid, give my wife the things that she needs. You know what I mean? Let us have a good life.
Right.
But at the end of the day, all we care about is our health and being happy, and we live a simple life. But I still want to provide. I still want to, I want to make money. I'm not saying money's not important, because that'd be stupid.
Right.
Money is very important, because that's how I'm able to sustain the lifestyle I live.
100%.
You know what I mean? Who knows what's going to happen with this crazy, industry? Everyone's like, you've made it. This time, I'm like, I haven't made it. I'm doing damn good. And I've been damn good for, 20 plus years. And I'm excited. What all that could go away. It really can.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who you are. If they stop doing photo shoots, my career is over.
Right.
As a professional photographer. So is everyone else's that's a professional photographer, even video makers that, all the stuff that we rely on is getting taken over, and weird things are happening. Right. If you don't pay attention and know that, then you're just a bad business person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to complain about it or worry about it till it happens, because then I'm just going to be a mess.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But those things are coming. And with everyone, every industry, everyone. Actors aren't getting paid the same either.
No.
Do you know what I mean? They got some pretty substantial lifestyles that they got to keep up with.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm sure that they're nervous, AI, all this stuff. But what was my point? What was I going to say?
So we're talking about the Chopper, the magazine, and you were just saying how it's another legacy for you guys.
So to small things like that in life, I Carrie, and Manny, those guys over there that have been so great to us, and I'm looking at Choppers magazine and Dice magazine, all these magazines I looked at when I started getting into Choppers. I'm like, God, one day, what if I could shoot for one, or what if I could be in one?
Right.
That'd be crazy, but there's no way. You know what I mean? And then now it's like, oh man, I'm not only in one, but I'm in it because of my kid.
Right.
Like, how amazing is that to have it, a hard copy that I'll be able to sit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not on your phone, not, you know what I mean? I'm going to have a hard copy that I'll be able to keep. My wife and I can look back and just go, man, remember that? Because now we used to collect magazines of all my shoots. And like now it's like online. I got to store it in the cloud. It's not the same.
No.
It's not the same. And, but times are changing and motorcycles are changing. And that's one thing I love about, and he, the same. I didn't have to teach him this. He's like, something about an old bike, when you're on it, you feel like you're, if there's no cars in front of you and no one behind you, and you're behind a motorcycle that's spitting oil in your face, you can't help to think that you're back in 1960s or 1930s.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And to your point, like when you realize that, so we've been blessed to be able to do a lot of bike releases, different things for Harley. And was it the 80th? They did, the enthusiasts went to digital, and they decided for that year they were going to go to paper, and they asked the two of us to go on a shoot with Kerpius down in Malibu.
I remember.
So we did this shoot, and then they're like, stop at the tent in Lozelle Street in Sturgis and pick up your copy. And we were just like,
Oh,
wow.
It's just, there's nothing like a photograph.
No.
Yeah.
To this day, and even I just did a show, and like seeing them in print is what a lot of these young photographers don't get. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know, they're like, what advice do you have? This is not like print it. Just print it. Show people prints.
Right.
They're going to understand what you do. Because when they're looking at a photograph on Instagram or you're looking at your stuff, it's not the same, and they don't look at the same. They flip through. You know what I mean? A photograph you're looking at, there's something about it that's different. Have a show.
Well, let's talk about that, because we were at your show.
Yeah.
And it was,
I
I
was
mean,
stoked to see you guys.
they were holding people out, not letting, because it was the
Yeah,
whole,
it was in Old Agora where I live, and I did it to help the community, and kind of, I wanted to keep it, and I thought this is the one that'll be kind of low key, and I was blown away that many people showed up, and like, you came out of Hollywood for this, like
right.
that's crazy. And some people were like, we came from San Francisco,
Yeah. I mean, there's
and
all,
from San Diego, and I just was like, yeah, it took a minute for me to kind of soak all that in.
well, it's overwhelming when you have all of a sudden the whole studio is full,
Yeah,
and you got people waiting outside.
yeah, it was crazy. There were like 1,500 people in that small little gallery.
Yeah.
And it was cool, man. This show was called Joyride. It's going to be ending soon, but there'll still be a lot of my pieces in there. It's a CT Gallery. It's in the Wizen Center on Agora Hills, right next door to one of my favorite restaurants, Basta. So if you're in that neck of the woods, definitely check out Basta, and definitely check out the studio, because I'll have work with them probably.
And make sure you go check out the Peep Show.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That was my idea. And that when I told the gallery that, they were like, "Oh, we'll build it out. That'll be crazy." I'm like, "You will?" And they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
I
it was pretty
missed
cool.
the best photo of my life. There was a couple. Some dude was wearing this big fluffy coat. Wife was well dressed, and he's sitting there holding his martini or whatever. She looks in the people and just gives him this reaction because she didn't know it was coming.
Uh-huh.
That was a good time.
Well, that picture of the horse that you took through the window,
Yeah.
it reminds me of a picture that is in my mind, and it's in our mind, but we didn't catch it because we were riding down Route 66 in Arizona, and there was a guy on a horse, beautiful colored Indian blanket, and he was like just cruising. And as we went by, he stopped and he went
Just like that.
And we were just like,
Yeah.
every one of us was like,
Yeah.
our wives were there. We were like, whoa, did you just see? That was like amazing. But it's it's in our head.
We were coming back from a run, and we're going the back way through the mountains. I forgot what run it was. It might have been the Biltwell. Either way, we come on this country road, and we just came down this crazy mountainside, and I've never gone this way. And I was like, this is crazy. And we look over to the right, and I look over and I see like 4 horses, and I see him kind of rear up. Then I see him haul ass towards us. And as we went by, they went side by side. And they were it was almost like the horse did that. It was like going, yeah. And they did. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, I can't believe I didn't get the picture of that or of that on video. Then we get to the gas station, and my friend, I think it was, gosh, I can't remember who it was. War Pig, the guy, and he had got he videoed. He was behind us.
No,
and you could see us all going. And he put it to Wild Horses.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no way.
Wow.
But yeah, all those kind of things. Like when you're on a bike, you notice. I mean,
everything.
You notice everything. You notice smells.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, you can smell the dampness of a tunnel.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can smell fresh flowers.
Yeah.
You can smell baked bread when you start coming into a small
Orange
town.
blossoms.
Or it's crazy. You smell the motorcycle in front of you.
We don't own cars.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I'd love to have an old truck, but
Funny, back to your book. I had my son and daughter-in-law over at the house on Thanksgiving, and they were kind of cuddled up in a blanket, and I dropped the book.
The drive-bys?
They probably spent 2 hours just.
Yeah. You get lost in it.
They were just.
I
Totally
still do that.
In it.
Yeah, I still do that. It's probably the best accident that'll ever happen in my lifetime.
You know that little crazy kid on the bike, my grandson?
Mhm.
He used your book as a coloring book. No, I'm just kidding.
I would tell him I'll give him 3. That guy, it'll probably end up be better in the book. Like that kid's a genius.
So Jonah, you're at a young 19. What are you most proud of in your life so far?
That I'm now that I have been using my head a lot.
Good man.
You know, that I've been on the right. Like, I mean, there's been times where I've like effed up and I'm like, damn, you know. But I learn off of those, and it makes me more successful.
Yeah.
You're a man now.
Yeah.
A lot
That's
of people will call you a pussy, but I think you're badass.
But yeah, that is definitely one thing I'm very happy about.
I mean,
Yep.
And also that I'm not very like, I don't know how to I'm more of a what's that
old soul.
old head. Yeah,
Old soul.
Yeah.
So
That's that guy
We all
right there.
Old soul, yeah.
Yep.
You know,
27
like,
on
I
60.
see that with you when you're hanging out with the guys
Yeah.
and you got your
Sophia says she's proud of you.
Thank you.
Oh, that's so.
Yeah.
I know it's weird. Like, I told my wife, I'm like, is it weird? Like all Jonah's friends are like 50. Are we doing the right thing as parents?
Yeah.
no.
No, it's cool. You know what?
Yes,
though?
you are.
That's the best way to do it. It's just
100%.
like old music. If you
Look.
listen to Johnny Cash and Waylon,
Oh
those
yeah,
guys,
yeah,
they have stories from real life.
yeah.
You can't get that. So
Yeah.
he's.
But
It's good that he's doing that.
yeah, and I'm just happy that I'm around a lot. I like know the right, because I used to hang out with like a lot of dudes who were not really awesome. You know, like they
You
had
thought at the time maybe
issues.
they were.
Yeah, they had
Well, he
issues.
could have went down the wrong
I
track.
could have
easy.
Yeah.
really easy.
These days, it's so easy.
Yes.
And I'm very happy that I kind of hang out with the right. I don't know, just
It makes life
That's
good,
the
right?
Yeah, the right people.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean,
So,
financially speaking, are choppers really a better habit than hard drugs?
yeah, yes.
I don't know. He's
100%.
thinking about that.
No, that's a good question. No.
Well,
Kid.
It is a drug.
Yep.
It's the most expensive drug.
Yeah. When we had some buddies come by, our buddy Dom has a cone shovel. He has an older shovel as well. And the first, he's like, dude, go ahead and ride it. I'm like, I don't want to roll up my jeans with the dry clutch and the jockey. And I did. And I got back and had, recurring dreams for weeks. And now it's in the works,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's like I
It is
never
a
ride
drug.
anyone else's bike
Yeah.
ever. Not because I'm afraid of
Josh's bike?
this and that. It's just,
Dead.
well, I'll ride that to keep it running.
That is a.
Listen, turn his mic off for a minute.
I
Anyway,
haven't even been talking.
you fall in love,
Yeah.
and you're like, it's like, oh,
for sure.
that bike, and then you, like you said, you can't stop thinking about it, and then you think it's because it was a knucklehead. Now I just need any knucklehead.
Any knucklehead.
Anyone will do, which it's rare. It's look, it's a hobby. It's a lifestyle, but it's also an amazing hobby.
Mm-hmm.
I'll think of excuses to go out just to check the oil or change seats up or rewire the from the middle to the back. You know what I mean? Just to work on it and feel like
Spend some time with
that
it.
I'm doing. Spend time with it, but it also it's what a way to kill time.
Yeah.
And what a joy to be able to go out of your backyard and be through the hills
Mhm.
of Ireland and then end up at the ocean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then come back. It's just, it doesn't get old, which, like me and my buddies, we'll look at each other without talking and just, we're saying the craziest stuff
Mhm.
back and forth without even having to think about it. And then I've never, to go on runs with these guys and stay in the Motel 6 and then go check out 100 amazing choppers just like yours and meet a bunch of dudes. I met so many cool photographers, that are, along the way that I love and respect. And, they're like, it's one of the reasons also where I don't shoot I shoot motorcycle stuff for me and I Instagram it, but I don't.
Yeah,
I'm not shooting for Harley professional ever.
Yep.
Even if they wanted me to, for two reasons. These guys, that's their livelihood. And someone like me coming in and, I don't want them to think that, oh, I'm a threat because I love chopper. I'm like, I'll go do an Instagram post for them. You know what I mean? That's it.
What made you get over to homecoming?
Harley asked me if I wanted to come. Yeah. And they said, and I did a deal with them. We're like, well, I won't shoot this. And they're like, no, we want you to be there. If you post, you
Shoot
post.
the
If
lifestyle
you
that's
don't.
happening.
Right.
And I'm like, because they saw that I do every time I go on a run, I make a little video or that's what I do. So I'm going to get good photos. I'm going to get good things, but it's just for my friends to have and for moments for us to remember by.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not, or if Carrie needs something, he's like, oh, can I have that shot? Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But all these guys that are out there, shooting chopper stuff, they do it way better than me. Do you know what I mean? They're trained to do that. Do you know what I mean? That's their main job. You know what I mean? So it's fun to meet them and see them at work and look at their stuff and be like, I'm happy to meet you. You kidding me? And then they're like, oh wait, you've seen my page? And I'm like, of course.
Well, it's funny, like with Curpius, like the shoot that we did, we kind of had run into him a couple times, but then it was like, oh, he's shooting us.
Oh yeah, he's great.
So we've experienced a little bit with his son where Lance would stand up on the pegs and turn around and start shooting us.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so Curpius is like, he's putting rubber bands on the throttle. I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
He's like, this is an old.
That's not dangerous.
No, I didn't. Well, it isn't too bad. So he's like, it's an old chopper trick for cruise control.
Yeah.
He said, so I can set it. Then instead of trying to hit buttons to turn it off or pull the brake, I can just roll the throttle.
Yeah, if you're going to do it. My knucklehead has a sticky throttle.
Yeah.
Which is great because when I ride that, you can literally, I have it around my neck.
Right.
So mine is super simple. You know what I mean? And I built this plastic lens, from the throwaway camera. So I've got a Leica camera, which is it's a $7,000 camera.
Right.
And I've got a, $20 plastic lens on, but from 3 feet to infinity, it's in focus.
Right.
So I don't have to worry at all. All I got to do is look at the back of the camera for 2 seconds. And then if I see the image, I just done.
He shoots off the bike all the time with his 35.
And
yeah,
he's
35, but you got
he's
good
backwards.
and that the same as with the autofocus these days, But mine is like, it's so tiny.
Right.
It doesn't, And when I'm on a bike, the last thing I'm really thinking about is concentrating on photography too, because like I said, my ADD,
right,
I'll forget.
Oh shit, I'm on a motorcycle.
Yeah, I'll forget, and I'll start getting into a shot, and you can. And so I try not to do that many shots driving, but I can do it without looking.
Right.
And it's it's great because that's the shot you want.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like there's nothing like, and to give your buddy a shot of him or her on the actual motorcycle, going through the desert or going through it's
pine
like
trees
it's
going
gold.
through the
And it's like sometimes
leaks.
the gift of photography is the best gift I can give anyone, right? So I'll send someone a picture and they'll literally call me back and be like, dude, I've been wanting a picture like this my whole freaking life. I'm so happy, it's almost like it's one of those things where that's another thing that I'm happy that I'm in this crew and I have this talent that I can contribute something. I might not be able to help you fix your clutch pedals, but I can get you a damn good picture of you fixing it.
So I actually convinced these guys to pay me to do that.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I asked Jona, I'll ask you. So what are you most proud of professionally and personally?
Professionally, I'm still just every day proud that I'm still doing this at a level that I am. I'm still supporting my family.
Yep.
I'm able to, support my hobbies. And just know I made it against all odds.
Mm-hmm.
But most importantly, I am proud of my family and how good this kid turned out and is turning out. And how grateful that I've got the coolest wife on the planet. I really do. Like everyone's like, oh, my wife. I'm like, you meet my wife and even the cool wives are like, damn, she's like, she's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, to put up with me, like, that's a full-time job. We get each other.
Yeah.
And people that know us in our inner circle, they understand it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're immediately like, it's amazing. And I'm just so happy that that's still going in an
Yeah.
age where everyone seems like they're getting divorced or,
Yep.
hard times come. And that's the hardest, that's the true test of any relationship, right?
Yeah.
Is, if shit hits the fan, are you going to stay with me? You know what I mean? Because that's
Well, and
most people's biggest fear. We're like, that's the last thing on my mind.
you're lucky because that $50,000 chopper you made,
That's
that could have been a showstopper.
still one of my most expensive bikes. But and I'm just proud. I'm, just like you said, I went to that show and I'm like, this is crazy. And everyone kept saying, like, everyone showed up for you. Like, this is crazy. The Gora's never had anything like this ever. And like, even the people that own the center were like, this is the cops
insane.
came and they didn't even say anything. They were like, this is great. And I just thought, what a testament to the life that I get to live.
Right.
And in the short time that we're out on this earth, like, that was a moment I'll never forget.
Well, you've impacted people with your photography. You've instilled something in them that, and think about that for a minute. You walked out of an audition
Yeah.
and busted your hump for whatever time it took
12 years is my first
to
job.
go do the, so
And Herb also told me the biggest advice he ever gave me, he goes, until you're doing it for 10 years, do not call yourself a photographer. Don't tell people you're a photographer. And 10 years is the amount of time that you can say you're actually a working photographer.
right.
And almost to that date is when I really started getting good gigs and started, because there's been so many times where I'm like, I went to quit once and my wife looked me dead in my eye and said, if you quit now, she was pregnant with him. And I was just very nervous. We were like broke and we were like going month to month and we had just bought our house for the first house. And I'm like, I got to get a job at a restaurant. I can't, like, we don't have enough money to pay next, and I'm like, she's like, if you quit now, I will kill you. I literally will strangle you, and then about a week later, I got my first big paying gig.
Wow.
Fate.
And then ever since then, knock on wood, just enough to get by and just enough to make it. Then, we're starting to get ahead. And then, so it's just been a crazy, amazing journey.
That journey.
I never take it for granted. And it's like, I don't feel like I've even touched the surface of what I'm capable of.
Right.
I know people think that that's stupid and crazy to say, but I mean, I have so much more to go. I'm already building a new shovel head. I'm going to build a long bike. Me and Steven have been laying it out. So now I wake up, all I'm doing is searching online for original bolts because I
Right.
want it to be original. I want to find original bars. You know what I mean? I'm like the seat, and it's like, that's so exciting. It's like Christmas. It gives me something to do and look forward to instead of worrying about things.
So do you know Jason Sims and Grant Peterson?
Yeah, I know of them. I'm not like,
We can
crazy.
put you in contact with them.
Dude, I'm all over the internet. You talk about everyone to like, I'll
Because
ask
Grant just
dumbest
picked up an old
questions.
bike and then he runs into these piles.
Oh,
of
dude,
parts.
yeah, we do it. Yeah, and Steven's like,
Crazy.
I'll send a part. He's like, that's not the right year. They're not. It's like, it's almost like,
Oh.
are you pissed at me? He goes, no, but just read. And I'm like, fuck, okay, all right, yeah, that did say 67 to 70.
Well, is there anything, because this is going to be memorialized forever, is there anything you want to say to your future grandchildren, or you want to say to your wife or your mom, or
You came through like you were about to give a speech at like, first of all, thank you all for coming. I'd like.
I have a lot, I just want my kids in the future to ride bikes, and what?
That's funny. That's great. Not a lot of people would say that. That's a testament to how much you take this into your lifestyle, and that's a beautiful thing.
Through that.
yeah,
But a lot of people would probably go, "What?" But we understand it.
And I don't know. Dude, there's so much things.
I know it's great. When
I'll
you get
say,
put on the spot,
but
you'll think of it on the way home when you're
just-
riding just the engine in your brain.
I don't know. Just use your head. Don't make any stupid decisions or anything. And yeah, just yeah.
I like
I'd
it.
add to that and say,
use your
look,
head.
yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
and I know that a lot of us in chopper guys, it's we're chopper enthusiasts and we love old choppers. You guys like more modern bike. There's nothing wrong with riding a fat bob or big bike or a mini bike
I also have one more thing. It doesn't matter what you are on, just as if you're not stupid on it, we're cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like that.
and as long as you're riding or doing anything
Just have fun, man.
that your hobby is,
Just have fun.
keep your head going forward and concentrate on your dreams and make them come true. You can chase your dreams aren't going to chase you back.
Well, we've said we don't care what people ride.
Of course.
I mean, we're here just to tell stories.
Yeah. I mean,
all
that's
we're
a
doing.
testament to your party that you had.
Yeah.
There was, and which is why I was stoked to be there. And it was cool to see all the old timers that, did the marching thing and they're asking questions about the bike and like, that looks as old as me. And that, and that don't know that choppers like that still exist. And they're like, I'm like, yeah, that's,
That's
his is
awesome.
like a 1947 knucklehead. And what? And then, so it's cool. And then, we'll see all the new bikes and you had a bunch of Harleys out here that are new and see the future of bikes. And like the whole lifestyle is amazing. And just, I appreciate everyone that takes a chance, and, stays on two lanes.
Well, we're blessed.
Yeah, of
because
course.
If you step back on the stage and you just kind of looked at everyone that was there, we had such
I
a
did.
diverse crowd.
Oh, I did.
Right? We had old, young, new, old bikes, new bike. That just
How about the chick who's like, they're like, anyone know the words of the national anthem? She went in and blew it away like she was Beyonce. I was like, what the?
that's good.
Was this planned? And they're like, she was like, no.
No.
She's like, I was standing next to her. She goes, hold my hat. I was like,
Well,
okay.
there was a firefighter that was going to sing, but he got laryngitis, and she was
that's not
here
gonna
the
work.
day before, and we knew she was a singer, and we're like, Gavin, would you be honored?
Yeah, I
And
see
she's
her at
like,
the old place with her crew all the time.
Yeah.
They're sweet.
She went down.
I know she ruined her
Hard,
bike,
yeah.
but she's okay, which is good.
Yeah.
It seems like she's okay. So.
Yeah, I think she's more
Well,
upset.
She killed it.
Yeah, more upset that her
Yeah,
bike.
yeah.
But look, bikes can be repaired.
yeah.
Maybe that was just someone's way. The gremlins telling her she needs a new bike.
Yeah.
Right. I don't
She
think
rolled
the
in on
suspension
that.
handled that pothole.
No.
You know.
Speed, the death wobbles.
I mean, we have new bikes, but we definitely want to ride choppers. But Adam,
Bernard.
Adam.
Listen,
he'll
like I
call
said,
me and be excited,
call
and then he'll
Rooster.
just
But the thing with Adam is he's got all the bikes.
I know.
You've been
Yeah,
at
like,
this for
Adam,
a couple.
We're gonna
months.
make it happen. Mark my
We'll
words.
make it
I don't know, Adam.
I'll make it happen.
Well, we personally want to thank you boys for stopping in. It's been a pleasure having you, and the
Our
stories
pleasure.
are great. And we're family. That's all
Yeah.
it is.
Where could they find your band?
Oh,
You got an Instagram?
yeah, Instagram. So just do
SIK.
Yeah, spell it out for me. SIK
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 SICKS.
SICKS
wait, hold on.
660.
666 SIK
Yep.
SIK SICKS.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, they're really cool, and they play. They just played the Canyon Club.
Awesome.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Yeah, so look on there for.
So you guys are stars already.
Yeah, they're killing it.
Yeah.
They're killing it.
Yeah.
Well,
And if-
next time you're gonna have to bring the guitar, strap it to the
Oh
back,
yeah.
and we'll have to let you.
Well, when we have
serenade
Adam
your
on
dad.
after you the chopper,
Yeah.
and we have Adam on, he'll come in as a guest.
Let's sing. I want to hear the dad song.
All right.
Well, Rooster was the first time we smoked in the studio,
Yeah.
and that might be the first time we play guitar. So it's all
Yeah.
good.
Well, we're supposed to have, I think in January, Josh might be on the show.
Yeah, he actually, we talked before, and he said he's looking forward to it.
And I don't know. Rooster said he wanted to come say hi.
Oh yeah.
In an interesting way.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know. It's always interesting.
Well,
So anyway,
we love you,
So we
boys.
feel like we're
Thank
part
you.
of the Chopper family.
Yeah, no, we are for sure.
And,
All right,
and really,
what a show.
thank you for showing up to the open house.
Yeah,
Oh no, that was.
that
are you kidding
that
me?
was
I was supposed to
so
work that day,
cool.
and it got canceled. And I was
Yeah.
so excited, and I came in last minute, and
It-
we all met at Rooster's house.
And it just gave us a different vibe too. I loved
Yeah, it was cool.
It was perfect.
It was cool. Good food. It was good music. It was a really good event.
Yeah.
And I heard it was like It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
It
Yeah.
was just before you
This
got
parking lot
there.
ain't gonna be big enough soon.
I know. Calamigos Ranch.
There you go.
Right.
That's close to the house.
Do a big deal.
Because then you could do a big run with everyone.
Mhm.
Do that Mulholland Loop
That'd be scary.
down to the ocean and back.
Yeah.
200 bikes.
Yeah.
That would
We
be
did
so
that.
gnarly.
We did that from Lozelle Street to Outlaw
Outlaw Square.
Outlaw
Yeah.
Square,
It's the best.
25-mile run.
There's nothing
20
like
mile.
watching people's faces when you pass a huge crew passes by
Yeah.
and watching even little kids waving. And
Yeah.
We had 241 bikes. It was a thrashing ride when we were in it.
That's just something.
Yep.
Put up your Law Tigers and tell the people where they need to go to subscribe and
Everyone-
2LaneLIVE and all
We're
that
out.
good
Time to
stuff.
pay the bills.
Time to pay the bills. This episode is brought to you by Law Tigers. And links. You can check out all the links in the description to see these boys. You can go to 2LaneLIVE.com to buy all your V-twin parts, seat suspensions, motors, fenders, lights, yada yada. And if you do that, we can keep putting out these videos.
And check out Jona's band.
Yes.
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
And we got Think Lab pulling in last minute.
Yeah, and if you did want a copy of the Drive-Bys book that he was talking about,
And
That's
the trumpet
linked.
you
bag.
can go on to bbsdrivebys.com.
There it is.
That second edition right there.
Also the trumpet bag.
bbsdrivebys.com. You'll immerse yourself in the photography, and that's
Yeah.
super.
It's the people, not the photography. That book's about people.
Yeah. But you captured it.
Yes.
One day we'll have to have Brian come out and we'll have to hire him to shoot us.
I'm saving up for that one.
You heard that, Shay?
Yeah.
No, I definitely got to do a shoot with you boys.
All right. Well, with that, we'll see you down
All
the
right.
road.
Thanks,
Down the
thanks
road.
everybody. Appreciate
Down the
it.
road.
That was fun.
Damn.